There's an offensive element that we're missing that we usually have that, so he can supply that. Now, it's a complete team effort by all our centers and who ends up low to replace what he does for us offensively and defensively combined. It's not just on the young man.
That is what it sounded like yesterday as Blues head coach Jim Montgomery was explaining why the Blues have decided to call up Dalibor Dvorsky alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK. Alex, we do have our line combinations today.
Ooh, T-Bone hit the open.
Guess the line. I don't know where the open is. I don't know where the open's at. How do you know where the bed is for the guess the lines open?
I don't know what this means as an omen for our show.
Guess the lines.
My computer just said, there's been a problem and shut down.
T-Bone's starting to show off with a bang.
I have nothing.
Pitch black like the Canucks offense is going to be tonight.
So if you could read off the line combinations, because I have them up.
Apparently there's been a problem on BK's side of things. So your line combinations tonight. Let's start with the number one line. Braden Shen, Pavel Buchnevich, Jimmy Snuggerud.
Go.
Makes sense. Dylan Holloway, Pius Suter, and Oscar Sundqvist.
Sure.
Third line. Dalibor Dvorsky down the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Kyrou.
Sure.
Then your fourth line, Toropchenko with Bukestad and Walker. D stays the same. Bennington, the starter. I got a question.
Sure. Please.
Two questions, really. One, why not Kyrou and Sundqvist's spot? Kyrou, Holloway, you're looking for more offense right now. Two.
So what would that line be in the scenario that you're
Holloway,
presenting?
Suter, Kyrou.
Okay.
Why is Dvorsky centering Matthew Joseph and Jordan Kyrou? And that's not to take, because I actually think Joseph and Kyrou have been very good in their own end. But neither of those guys are centers. And typically, not saying you don't want Dvorsky to play center, but you would think you'd want another center on that wing to just have that out, just in case. Now, maybe they don't because the confusion would be there of you don't want Dvorsky thinking somebody else is the center when he's really the center. You want him looking at this saying, nope, I got two wingers that know their roles. I'm down the middle. But I think what I would have done, and I'm not the coach, I'm just expressing my theory. I think I would have gone Booch, Suter, Snuggerud, Holloway, Shen, Kyrou, Bukestad, Dvorsky, Joseph, and then Sundqvist, Toropchenko, Walker. That would have been my line combinations. And you can rotate Sundqvist or Bukestad however you well please. But I think I would have liked to have a center who's on the wing with Dvorsky, but playing it as a wing.
All of this is a little surprising to me. I'm not going to say confusing, but surprising to me.
Yeah.
The fact that, if you're putting him with Jordan Kyrou, he's getting top 6 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So as of 2 days ago, he wasn't good enough to be on the roster, and as of today, he's now a top 6 player. That's a little surprising to me.
He's been awesome in the minors, at least they said the last 3 games.
Okay, that's a pretty small sample size. But yes,
it's a great sample size.
Yeah, it's not. It's a small sample size. I hope the kid comes up here and tears it up and never looks back, and he's a part of your top 6 for the next 15 years. I would love nothing more than for that to be the case. It just feels very similar to the Cardinals calling up a player and, hey, you're batting second for us now. It's like, whoa, okay, so hold on.
Carlson, go hit cleanup.
He wasn't good enough a week ago to be on the roster, and now he's just ready to go in the top half of your order. Okay, I guess, sure, that I suppose that's the equivalent to what the Blues are doing here with Dalibor Dvorsky. It's just surprising to me. It doesn't feel very in line with, A, their comments from earlier this season, and B, generally speaking, how they operate as an organization. So, yeah, it was my opinion on the matter. It was my reaction yesterday when we saw the news that Dvorsky was getting called up. It remains my perspective on it today as we're seeing how he's going to be utilized in the lineup. I'm surprised he's playing center. I'm surprised he's up. I'm surprised he's in the top 6. So all of this to me, and maybe I'm on an island here, all of this to me is pretty jarring in the way that they're going about it.
I mean, it's surprising mostly because of what they told us in the offseason of they just didn't want to rush the guy. And it feels like you're rushing him into this circumstance. But the other factor into all of this, too, is, look, at some point, they're going to need Dvorsky to do it. There's no slow playing Dvorsky into this. If he's up here, he's going to play in your top 6. Let's say he played another 20 games in the minor leagues. We heard Steve Konowalchuk and Ryan Smith both tell us yesterday, look, things haven't been going well to start the season off in Springfield. So you're going to be on 2 teams. Both of them are struggling, one at the NHL, one at the AHL. You're producing in the AHL. Again, 3 games, small sample size. There's just not going to be a slow play into this thing. It's going to be, look, you come up and you're going to play. Now, I'm surprised it's a top 6 centerman. By the end of the hockey game, I don't think he's going to have top 6 minutes. By the end of the hockey game, it will be probably Suter, Holloway, and Kyrou, Joseph, Sundqvist, and Dvorsky. That might be a third line for you, and you will see it sporadically, unless it's going well. If chemistry's going well, they'll pump him up to the top line, or they'll keep him where he's at and keep filling him minutes. Jim Montgomery is all about earning your ice. The quote he said, he's like, I love it as a coach because my only tool is ass meet bench, bench meet ass. If you're playing poorly, you're not going to play. So if Dvorsky comes up and performs, he's going to get a lot of ice time. If he starts to struggle, you'll see him go to the third line. You'll get every other shift or every 4th rotating shift, and they'll go up to Suter, Holloway, and Kyrou.
Can I give you one other takeaway on this? What a statement in favor of Jordan Kyrou.
Yeah.
I mean, the last few years, no chance in hell they would trust a 20-year-old rookie to come up and play the center position, and the response would be, you know who we should put with him? Jordan Kyrou. That's the way that we make sure that he has success right away at the NHL level.
Yeah.
Because Jordan Kyrou right now is the guy that makes any line work. You put him on the line, they have success. You need to get more out of somebody, put Jordan Kyrou on the line. That's what they did with Robert Thomas. They're like, okay, you know what? Screw it. We need to reunite him. Put Kyrou up there. It'll make it work for a little bit. Now, was it great? No, but like Kyrou's the guy that you do that with, the way that Dylan Holloway was a year ago. So I do think that it speaks to where Kyrou's at in his career right now, that they're trusting him in this spot. It also speaks to Matthew Joseph, who we weren't sure was going to make the roster at one point in, I don't know, July.
Yeah, we talked about potentially him being going on waivers.
And he's played so well this year that, again, wherever you need him to be, whether that's up in the lineup, down in the lineup, he can do that. He can kind of camouflage his game to whatever role you need him to be. If you need him to play more up-tempo, he's capable of doing that. If you need to grind it out, well, Joseph's actually been a pretty good grinder this year. He's playing with more physicality than we saw from him a year ago. So I think it speaks to what both of them have done this year on the ice, that they're trusting them with no natural centerman on the line with Dalibor Dvorsky. That would be the one other takeaway that I have from the way that they constructed these lines
And
today.
it should be the takeaway. I mean, Jordan Kyrou has been one of the most consistent players on this team from start to finish. There's maybe been a couple of scenarios that you're like, on a play that happens with Kyrou on the ice. But otherwise, he's been just as good in his own end as he has been in the front. And he's got an 8-game point streak right now. Like, he's your offense, along with what Jake Neighbors was. So, yeah, this isn't just we need offense, so we're going to put Dvorsky with Kyrou. No, they say this is as we've got 2 guys that are responsible, playing responsible right now, and we're going to put Dvorsky in the middle of it. And I appreciate the fact that Jim Montgomery isn't just toying with this. Of like, he'll get some opportunities at the center position. No, you're 20 years old now. You're still young, yes, but you're a center at the NHL level. We need you to be a center.
Can I be honest? This line feels like the symbolism for what's gone wrong. Outside of Kyrou, who Kyrou's been fantastic. But looking at it and saying Joseph is a second-line winger, and this is not a shot against Matthew Joseph, but if he's like one of your best players so far this year, that's symbolic of what's gone wrong.
Well, you're right.
Dvorsky's being up here centering the second line, which, again, probably not the wrong call. I'm a little surprised they didn't move him to the third line just to kind of, instead of throwing him in the deep end, just let him float around in his floaties a little bit. But again, that's symbolic of what's going wrong for the St. Louis Blues and where they are. It feels like, hey, Dvorsky, come be the savior for the St. Louis Blues.
It's symbolic. I mean, I also think this was a message sent to the team. Booch, Holloway, you guys aren't playing to the level we need you to play at. So we need to go get somebody who can provide a spark for our team.
we're getting a lot of pushback that we're saying he's on the second line. People are saying, no, this is the third line. Okay, then I'll go ahead and say it's not great that Oscar Sundqvist is on your second line right now. Like,
this is going to
that line symbolic as well.
Whatever you want to say is your second line, whether it's Joseph with Dvorsky and Kyrou or Holloway with Suter and Sonny. One of those two lines that is going to act as your second line tonight is not your typical second line for a contender. Oh. Oscar Sundqvist, in a best-case scenario for this team, is probably a fourth-line center for you. He is now being asked to play either, depending on how you want to construct the lines, a second-line role or a third-line role. That's not ideal. Or Dalibor Dvorsky is being asked to be a center on your second or third line. Again, not ideal. I agree with T-Bone. I get why they're doing this. I'm not saying what they're doing is inherently wrong. It is just a reflection of where we're at. Like, if you think our criticism has been too biting, it's been too over the top over the last few days of where this team finds itself right now, look no further than their actions to suggest just how much they're concerned about where the team finds itself as of today. This is an action that shows you they're juggling up the lines seemingly all year long, and now you find yourself in a spot where either Oscar Sundqvist is a second-line winger or Dalibor Dvorsky is a second-line center on October 30th. It ain't great, man. It's not great where they find themselves. And I would also add one other thing real quick, Alex. I hear what you're saying on, hey, it's showing trust in Dalibor Dvorsky. Agreed. You putting him on this line with Jordan Kyrou, I would call it your second line because Kyrou's on it.
It's your second line because how they do this in practice, they rotate through lines. One line goes, then the next line goes. Jeremy Rutherford and Matt DeFranks both had it as the second line, which told me that's the second line that rotated through line rushes.
Yeah, it's their second line, but whatever. Again, Jordan Kyrou is not getting third line minutes right
whatever.
now.
I'm not going to let people argue with you on what's right. It's facts.
Whatever it is, I would say Jordan Kyrou, with the way that he's been playing this year, he's probably not getting third line minutes, so I will use him as the one that tells me where.
You think it's the top line?
Maybe. Honestly,
number one line.
But whatever it may be, remember how we talked about going into the year how, hey, you're going to have to live with some of the issues that come with Logan Mailloux. And people are like, no, it's going to be great. He's going to be good right away. Okay, maybe he's going to be the outlier. Maybe he is your Broberg. It's possible, just unlikely. Generally speaking, that's not the way it goes. The same thing is true for Dalibor Dvorsky. He may be great immediately. But remember what happened last year when he came up, Alex? He came up, got like a game, and they're like, never again. Never again will he see the ice.
Go back to Springfield.
He played 2, and then they were like, that was fun. Thank you.
Actually, not fun at all. We didn't like it. Please, A, don't play anymore while you're out here, and we'll just sit you for the whole third period. And B, just sit on the bench or in the press box for the next 5 games, and then we'll send you back to Springfield.
And they also used him as a winger in those games, too. They didn't use him as a center.
Because they had other options, and now you're desperate, and so he's playing center for you.
They did, and they had Sundqvist as your third-line center last year.
So the reason I bring that up, you're going to have to live with some of the mistakes that happen. Some of the stuff that you've been living with Mailloux, the same thing very well could be true in the next few games with Dalibor Dvorsky as the center. You'll live with that because you're hoping for the upside of his offense. But don't discount the fact that he's still a young player. He's going to have to learn his way at the NHL level, and this is part of that.
Yep. It's going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. And that's why I like that they're putting him at the center position. Look, what Jim Montgomery said in the open is absolutely right. This isn't on him. It feels like it's on him to save the team. This is on the players, too, to carry their own weight. And if you leave Dvorsky out to dry, that's on the players once again. So this isn't a matter of Dvorsky looks rough in this game and, they got a busted a 10th overall pick. No, man. The surrounding pieces aren't living up to what their potential is. This guy should fit into a group of players that have a effective forecheck, play stingy defensively. He should fit in like a glove. But where they're at right now, they're not playing well. And so, you need Dvorsky to come up and provide some offense because nobody else on this team wants to shoot the puck. But you also need everyone else to say, hey, we've got a 20-year-old centerman playing in this game tonight. Let's rally around him and actually provide a little bit more physical play and forecheck.
It's 11:15. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. A lot of Blues talk today. We've got Chris Pronger, Blues Hall of Famer, joining us at 11:30. We've got Jordan Schmaltz, former Blues defenseman, joining us coming up at 12 o'clock. He mentioned on Twitter the other day, Alex, he had a good conversation with Jordan Bennington about the vibes of the team right now. We will ask him about that conversation coming up at noon, and our guy Joey Vitale stops by coming up at 12:30. 314-399-9646. That's the Your Comfort Service text line to get involved in the show. You can always check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/101ESPN STL. Coming up next, we're going to take a detour away from the Blues for just a little bit. The Blue Jays are the first team that has seemed to expose all of the Dodgers' flaws. How have they done this? We'll talk about it next here on 101 ESPN.
Here he comes after going game 5 with a fastball that's hit in the air to deep left field. Call to the track. It's down on the first pitch of game 5. Davis Schneider into George Springer's shoes and doing a great impression. On the very first pitch, and now Vlad Jr. hooks the ball down the left field line. They've got back-to-back to start game 5. And the Blue Jays are headed home, one win championship.
That's what it sounded like last night on Fox as the Blue Jays win 6-1 against the against the LA Dodgers. Yeah, I know.
No, man, nobody's saying anything. Go.
It took all of 2 swings of the bat for them to score enough to win the game. And that is a credit both to their offense and also to Trey Savage, who was amazing last night. 7 innings, 12 strikeouts. T-Bone, what was the stat that you said? He already has more strikeouts than like every pitcher that's ever lived, basically?
Yeah, pretty much. He's like the only guy with, I think it's like only 1 walk or 2 games of 10-plus strikeouts. And it's like a group of like Justin Verlander, Randy Johnson, Kurt Schilling. It's like a guy of 5.
Okay.
You know?
I think Bob Gibson was on that
one,
list.
What was that? Oh, he struck out every batter in the lineup.
No, it was Kyle Gibson. He just looked at it wrong.
Yeah. Every batter in the lineup struck out at least once last night, and he is one of 3 pitchers to do that. It was him, Bob Gibson, and Randy Johnson.
Not bad. Not bad in terms of the company that he's keeping.
Well, no, the first question he asked was not what the stat was. That's why I was confused. I was like, I don't know.
I apologize for misremembering your stat.
Set me up better next time, noob.
My bad. Alex, the Blue Jays are now a win away from taking down the new era version of, the worst thing that's ever happened to baseball.
Yeah.
The way that the evil empire was in the late 90s, early 2000s for the Yankees, that is what the Dodgers have become. I'll go ahead and say it. I didn't see this coming. I thought the Dodgers would win this series in 3. That's what I predicted going into this series. What have you made of this? What have we learned about the Dodgers, about the Blue Jays, about baseball's construct? What have you taken away from this series?
Well, one, money doesn't buy happiness, and I think you're finding that right now with the Dodgers because I think they assumed they would be the greater entity in this series. But, man, it sounds real cheesy, but when you look at the Blue Jays, it reminds you that, 1 or 2 superstars isn't what you need. Like you need a full roster. You need something from top to bottom because that's how the Blue Jays are doing this. I mean, Vlad Guerrero Jr. has been incredible. George Springer has been a massive piece, but you go through some of these names on the roster and before the series, you're like, wait, who's that? And then now it's like they're household names, but pitching is what you're talking about as well. When you're going with Savage, when you're talking about some of these other guys that have come up and produced for the Toronto Blue Jays, that 18-inning game, to me, had the reverse effect. I thought that was going to be defeating for Toronto. There was no coming back from that. You go that long, you don't score, and then it's just like, okay, cool. White flags waved. We're done. But instead, it feels like the Blue Jays took that as a bleep this. We're going to win this series now. And Toronto, or the Dodgers look like the team that's backs are against the wall, even before that game last night. So it had the reverse effect, and I think it just goes to show you how difficult this Toronto Blue Jays team is to get out of baseball games.
Yeah, and we don't typically talk a lot of team-to-team matchups when it comes to baseball. We do that a lot in like hockey and in the NFL schematically and stuff. I think the Blue Jays are a nightmare matchup for this LA Dodgers team because of 2 things. One, they're so feisty at the plate where they don't strike out. So they are just racking up pitches on the starters, and they're making life a living hell. I mean, they were able to get to the bullpen against Blake Snell in both games that he has started in this World Series. The only guy that they haven't gotten to get to the Dodgers bullpen was Yamamoto in his start. So you look at what they're doing there. They're getting into the bullpen, where the bullpen has a 4.56 ERA for the LA Dodgers.
And we knew that was a weakness.
Exactly. It was a huge weakness for the LA Dodgers. They don't really know anybody to trust right now in their bullpen. And on top of that, because they're putting the ball in place so much, the Dodgers look like the Yankees defensively. They have not been good defensively in this series. And then you add on top of it, their pitching is so good that it's able to slow down this Dodgers lineup. Mookie Betts has done nothing for the LA Dodgers since the wild card round. Since then, he is batting 164 with a 476 OPS. And once you pluck him from that lineup, it doesn't look as fierce. It's basically Ohtani and Freeman. Everybody else is just about average right now for that lineup. So they are a nightmare matchup for the LA Dodgers.
And even Freeman, he's been fine.
Yeah.
He's not been otherworldly the way that you typically would expect. Mike Petriello put this out on Twitter earlier today. Ohtani so far this season has an OPS above 1,100.
Wow.
Every other Dodger combined, OPS below 700.
Oh.
The rest of the Dodgers lineup, not named Shohei Ohtani, is batting .239 with a .365 slugging percentage so far this postseason. It's Ohtani and the guys. Like the Dodgers in this postseason have effectively become offensively what the Angels were with Shohei Ohtani. And it's weird. It's hard to understand. Their starting pitching has been so good that it almost hasn't mattered because they don't allow any runs to anybody else. But they finally met their match, and I'm glad you brought up the matchup side of this, T-Bone. They met their match with the Blue Jays lineup because they don't strike out. Now, they'll put up some strikeouts over the course of a series like this because the Dodgers' starting pitching is just that good. They're going to get theirs. Blake Snell's just going to rack up, a strikeout per inning no matter who he goes up against. But it's hard to do against this Blue Jays lineup. They had the lowest strikeout rate in all of Major League Baseball this year. It's a lineup that has a clear identity as a group, and they do damage. When you combine those two things, low strikeout rate, high slugging percentage, it's the holy grail of offense in Major League Baseball. It's why yesterday I mentioned it reminds me a lot of those Astros lineups. The way that they were able to have so much success in, that 5 to 7 year stretch. Because they did the same thing. Put the ball in play and do damage. When you do those two things, suddenly you've got a real shot. They're one win away now, Alex, from doing what none of us in this room thought they could do. The Toronto Blue Jays actually winning the World Series. Do you think they're going to get it done?
Yeah, I do. I think it ends in 6 because you're going back to Toronto now. And that's going to be a tough environment for LA to have to deal with. I do think they get it done. I don't know if it's in 6 or 7. I can't imagine the Dodgers are just going to lie down and roll over after Toronto's come out of these last 2 games. But yeah, I started this series thinking the Dodgers were going to sweep it, that there was no chance. Now I look at how the pitching lines up and how good this offense has been in terms of handling adversity and their big guys coming through at the biggest moments. Yeah, I think Toronto wins it.
I do too. I think they ended.
In 6?
I think it's in 6 because I think now. Look, Yamamoto's been great. He's thrown 2 complete games. I think he's the first pitcher to do that. So I think it was like Roy Halladay, if I remember correctly. In the
I've got 7 because of Yamamoto.
Yeah, see,
I think it's the 7.
Yamamoto was filthy, and that's the part that I just don't know about.
And I think it's possible that they do with Yamamoto does have another good outing. I just think the way that this Blue Jays lineup is and how they're doing such a good job. I mean, you mentioned, yes, they have struck out. When they strike out, though, typically they're like, okay, you're going to strike me out, but you're going to do it and you're going to require 7 pitches to do it, not just 3 and I'm off to the dugout. I think they're going to have a better attack on Yamamoto. I'm not saying they score a bunch of runs on him, but I think they find a way to get him out of the game and not have him go the distance. I think they get him out after the 6th, and they get to the Dodgers bullpen, and they win the game and win the World Series.
It's been a really fun series, and it's everything I could have asked for. As a baseball fan, it's been great to be able to see 2 teams going at it the way that these 2 have, and we got an all-time great game out of it as well. Players performing at such a high level. I mean, my favorite part of all of this, the Blue Jays re-signed their homegrown star, and now he's putting on an absolute show on the greatest stage that baseball has to offer. That's great for baseball, man. The fact that the Dodgers might go down is great for baseball, in my opinion. This is not some like David versus Goliath story, man. The Blue Jays are like top 6 in Major League Baseball in payroll. They spend plenty on their roster. There's not some small market team like the Kansas City Royals or the Pittsburgh Pirates going up against the Dodgers. So let's make that clear. But they've done everything right. They've gone through the international market. They've re-signed their stars. They've been trying. They tried to get Shohei Ohtani. They've tried to get stars from elsewhere to come to their market and play there. And now they're finding a way to get it done on the national stage. So credit to the Blue Jays. I think this thing goes 7, but it's been a hell of a lot of fun to watch. Alongside Alex Ferrario and Tanner Hendrickson, I'm Brandon Kiley. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. Coming up at 12 o'clock, we're going to be joined by Jordan Schmaltz. We've got Joey Vitale at 12:30. We continue our Blues conversation next with Chris Pronger, the Blues Hall of Famer. We'll talk to him about what's gone wrong with the Blues defense next here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here at the Sports Center Update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Blues back in action tonight as they host the Vancouver Canucks. We'll have pregame coverage tonight starting at 6 o'clock with Alex Ferrario and puck drop at 7 o'clock with Chris Garber and Joey Vitale. And the Hockey Hall of Famer Chris Pronger joins the show next here on BK and Ferrario. This Sports Center Update was driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. SEMALondoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
It's good to see Chris Pronger getting involved in the Blues broadcast this year, Alex. He's doing so for FanDuel Sports Midwest. He's going to join us right now via the Callier and Thompson hotline. The Hockey Hall of Famer breaking down your St. Louis Blues. Chris, we appreciate the time as always, man. How you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How you guys doing?
Doing really well. We'd be doing better if the Blues were playing at a higher level, but hopefully that can happen sooner rather than later.
That's what you're here for, Chris. You're helping us make sense of this all.
Yeah,
all right,
I'm just
there's not a lot to make sense of.
Let's get this. I'll give you the 30,000-foot view here. You can take it in any direction. What's gone wrong, Prongs? What's happening right now?
I talked about this a little bit the other day. I think what people don't realize is that year to year, you have to maintain an identity. They do not have an identity right now. At the beginning of the year, last year, they got off to a slow start, fired the coach. Jim Montgomery comes in and implements some small changes. Now they've had a full training camp. They go on that historic run last year, went 12 in a row, on and on, make the playoffs, albeit I don't know if most prognosticators had them making the playoffs. They lose a heartbreaking Game 7 of Winnipeg and come back this year. Expectations are much higher. But I'm not sure if the players have taken that next step and developed yet. They've got a lot of young players trying to find themselves in the National Hockey League, and you take your foot off the gas pedal a little bit, you think you got it figured out, and it'll punch you right in the face. As we're seeing right now. I think at the end of the day, I think they've got to be more committed to the defensive side of the game. It takes a lot of hard work, and I would argue that, to me, from what I've seen in the games that I've watched of theirs, where they kind of fall apart is that they're just not detail-oriented on the defensive side, and what happens is you fall behind in games or you start coasting and you start cheating for offense. And in doing so, you hurt yourself defensively. And I think, Joe Hofer has not been great. Jordan Binnington has not been all world. However, he's been pretty good. I think they get a little bit better goaltending. They get more committed to the defensive side of the game. And what happens typically when a team does that is they start scoring more goals because they're committed defensively. They're putting themselves on the right side of the puck, playing the game the right way, as we hear people say all the time. And then that allows them to gain a little bit more confidence, and they start skating better, and they start working more cohesively. Chemistry comes together, line combinations, etc. They seem like they got everything in a blender right now.
Chris, this sounds like such a dumb question, so I apologize if it is. But from a player's perspective, is there something that happens when a team clicks and finds that identity? Is it just simply a win when you're going through a losing streak, or is there more to it?
I think there is a little bit more to it. It may seem like that from the outside. You start feeling a little better in practice. Things start clicking. I know when I would struggle, I would be leaning forward a little bit, and you're out of sorts, and it takes a little bit of time to work yourself out of that, and then, albeit in practice, sometimes in the games, and then all of a sudden things start to slow down for you, and things start to become a little bit easier because you're simplifying the game. We hear people talk about all the time. They need to simplify the game. What does that mean? It means not trying to do things out of your skill set, not trying to do something that maybe you're not supposed to try to go through 3 stick lanes and saucer the puck over 4 sticks and all the things that players can do when they're feeling it and when they're playing at a high level. But when you're struggling, you have to simplify the game and make the simple play. Sometimes you got to throw it off the glass and get it out because you're struggling. And so as they begin to turn the corner, as you asked that question, as they start to turn the corner, you'll start to see them, tape to tape passes and in sequence and enter zone unimpeded and really start to see that second, third, and fourth attack from the back end and little things like that we've seen over the last couple of years when they've been playing good and when they're not. This is what we get is how they've been playing lately.
The Hockey Hall of Famer Chris Pronger joining us here on 101 ESPN. Prongs, you mentioned last year there were small tweaks that were made to their game and what they were doing systematically. Have you noticed any more significant changes to what they're actually trying to accomplish on the ice this year? And if so, can you describe them for our audience?
No, I just think as you look at the roster, as you look at the players, I would say what people are expecting of players, they're slowly working themselves into game shape, into figuring out the type of team they're going to be. As I said, it changes year to year. They've had a couple small changes to the roster, and now you have Jimmy Snuggerud coming in. He's not coming from college onto the team. He's playing as a so-called rookie, and expectations are high, and people are talking about him as a potential Rookie of the Year candidate. You make a trade and bring in Mailloux for Bolduc. You have higher expectations on the goaltenders. You have higher expectations with what happened last year in the playoffs, and all these different things play into the mindset of the team as opposed to just like, how do we want to play? How do we want to attack? And how do we want to perform night in, night out? And when you start thinking too far ahead, you start thinking you're better than you are. As I mentioned earlier, this game will smack you upside the head real quick.
It really does. Chris, one of the main reasons I wanted to talk with you is because I heard you on NHL Network a couple of days ago, and you were talking about the Edmonton Oilers, and you were specifically speaking of, maybe they're just a team that's slow starting. And, I think the narrative in St. Louis is, well, they can't come out of the gate slow. They have to start hot in October. From a team's perspective, is it a bad thing if you're a slow starting team in October if that's the way you get into your style?
It's not a bad thing, but the difference between these two teams is Edmonton has Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and St. Louis doesn't.
Makes sense.
They don't have the luxury. They don't have the luxury that maybe the Edmonton Oilers do. For St. Louis, it needs to be a very team-oriented game. They need to be committed defensively. They are a score-by-committee type of team. Yes, they have some high-end players, but they're not elite. They're not all-world like Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. They can't take over a game just by themselves. And when we speak of team game and things like that, moving in packs of 5, defending with all 5 players, and then methodically moving up the ice and then attacking with all 5 players, and in-zone time and grinding on the opposition, which we saw them do last year. In that second half, they were great at getting pucks deep, playing physical with an edge, and then grinding, shift in, shift out, and wave after wave, attacking the opposition and grinding on them, cycling the puck, low to high, throwing it back down below and grinding. And just when you feel that as a team playing against the Blues, you get a little disheartened because you're just feeling this attack over and over. And that's what they got to get back to. And when I speak about identity, that's the identity that Jim Montgomery wants to have, that attacking mentality offensively, but that deliberate defensive mindset in the defensive zone that they showed last year. They've shown it sporadically this year, so they can do it. It's a matter of putting it together for 60 minutes and then building on that 60 minutes and game after game after game and getting on a roll in that regard. So, as I said, it's confidence, it's trust, it's creating that chemistry and that bond with one another that they had last year that they now have to recreate this year.
I'm glad you said that, Chris, because the other thing that we've heard a lot of from fans early on in the season is, the Blues got a leadership problem. It's the guys in the locker room that aren't leading the younger players through this. From somebody who has been labeled one of the better captains in Blues history, someone who was a leader for every team you played on, how much of struggles like this do you place on leadership groups in a locker room?
I think it's part leadership, but I think you got to look at the locker room itself and look at the types of players. I mean, when we go up and down their roster, they're not a vocal group. They're a group that's just going to go out and let their play do the talking. They don't have a lot of rah-rah guys, if you will. But that also is not necessarily a detriment. It's how they go out and perform. It's one thing to be sleepy. It's another thing to be quiet and uninterested. And it's a matter of going out and making sure you're prepared to go to battle every single night. And you could argue that maybe they haven't been prepared, they haven't been ready. That onus is upon the players. The coach can only get up and scream up and down the players until they're prepared to go up at the drop of the puck. And you could argue that that's a leadership issue, but they're also professionals. They're being paid to do a job, and they're professionals, and act accordingly. Prepare yourself. What do you need to do to be prepared to play hard for 60, 65 minutes, night in, night out? What do you have to do? And in doing so, okay, let's now work backwards and say, okay, this is what I need to do. What do I need to do in the morning? What do I need to do pregame? What do I need to do right before puck drop? And replicate that night in and night out. And once you find that template, you're now able to roll some games together. And everybody, again, you look at last year, and I know everybody's going to go back, but last year, everything worked that second half. Everything came together perfectly. The goaltenders were fantastic. The defense was awesome. Everybody worked within that five-man unit. And then offensively, everybody was a part of the attack, and everybody was scoring goals, and on and on and on. Now they have to recreate that and find that identity and find everybody's touch points within the system and within the makeup of the team.
Hockey Hall of Famer Chris Pronger, kind enough to give us a few minutes of his time today. We certainly do appreciate it. It's been great to see him on FanDuel Sports Midwest occasionally throughout this Blues season. Hey, Prongs, great to catch up today, man. Hope to see you out of the arena here pretty soon. Hopefully we'll talk with you again soon under better terms.
You bet. Sounds good. Thanks
Chris.
Absolutely. As Chris Pronger joining us here on BK and Ferrario, sincerely appreciate him giving us a little bit of time. The early quote was the one that to me stood out the most, Alex. It's what we talked about a little bit yesterday. Quote, they do not have an identity right now, end quote.
Yep. I mean, he nailed it. They look like a... He also talked in that interview about how, there's not five guys playing together. It's five guys on the ice. Panger used to say all the time, watch the game, and if you see five guys in one camera shot, they're playing well because they're connected. Everybody's there together. But when you watch it, they're spread out. It's not all on this move. I do really wonder how much of an impact not having Radek Faksa back had on this team. Because even a team that didn't have an identity, they still had a line that had an identity.
But even then, you've been without Torpo for most of the season.
You're right. So that wouldn't have been a line. Now, maybe it could, and you were without Sundqvist too, so you would have been having to recreate it. But, man, it was a line that when things would go poorly, they went out there and fixed it. It was a fix-it line. After a goal was scored for the Blues, after a goal was scored for the opposition, Fox's line's out there, playing hard, playing physical. So, again, it doesn't fix all of the issues defensively. There's a lot going on. But, yeah, they're lacking an identity, and was the main reason I wanted Pronger on, because he's right. You can't carry this stuff over.
as much as that fourth line was an identity line for them, they were able to be on the ice after goals because they were scoring goals. And what I mean by that is the top six was also getting the job done.
Yeah, but they would go out there when the other team scored too.
Sure. As a response line, and this year they've had too many responses. You brought this up yesterday. They've had too many responses where they don't respond. They go out there and they give up another goal almost immediately. But I think a lot of this is, man, the entire roster has not played well enough this year. This is not a fourth line issue for the Blues. I mean, you brought up the numbers a little bit earlier today. Your fourth line has actually been fine for the most part. You've got like 100 different problems for the St. Louis Blues this year. Fourth line maybe is a one of them, but it's pretty darn low on the list. Dylan Holloway ain't scoring. Pavel Buchnevich doesn't look like the same guy. Thomas got off to a slow start, and now he's hurt again. Jake Neighbors was awesome, but now he's out for the next 5 weeks. Jordan Kyrou has been great, but you have nobody else to match that level of production. And defensively, almost every guy is below what our expectations were coming into the season. Maybe Philip Broberg is the one exception that he's basically played up to what we hoped he would be. Maybe not on a point production level, but just overall game-wise, I think he's been great so far this year. That's about it, man. It's basically Broberg's been awesome, Neighbors was good before he got hurt, and Kyrou's been great. That's it.
Yeah.
If I can name 3 dudes that jump out as actually living up to expectations, speaks to what this team has been so far.
And you heard Chris say, too, like, they just need to calm down. Like, part of their identity right now is they get frazzled when things get chaotic in their own end. He said it's simple enough to just say, we just got to get the puck out. Just move the puck out of the zone. Rather than looking for these outlet passes and trying to beat people with speed, the identity that was there last year, and he's right, you can't carry it over, but you have to recreate that style of hockey to get back to what you need.
Jordan Schmaltz joins us coming up in about 15 minutes. Questions and answers, 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line coming up next here on 101 ESPN. 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and get them in right now on the Air Comfort Service text line, and we will answer them here on BK and Ferrario. All right, let's get to a couple pieces of news real quick. Alex, what did you say is going on right now in the NHL?
Official from the Avalanche and Elliot Friedman, Martin Necas has signed a 8-year, $11.5 contract extension with a full no-move clause.
With a no move?
With a no move. Now, let me do you guys a favor, because I know everybody's wondering the same thing as I am. Let's go over to the Dallas Stars Puckpedia page and see what Mikko Rantanen. Oh, Mikko Rantanen, $12 million.
Oh, my God.
With a full no move.
No.
So
they gave $500,000 less
to a guy that they had to trade to get.
Yeah, I would rather have Mikko Rantanen. I don't know about you guys, but personally for me, I would rather have Mikko.
Look, Necas is younger. Necas, if I'm not mistaken, has been actually pretty damn good for Colorado. He's got 13 points in 11 games.
He's been really good, but
I still would rather have Mikko Rantanen.
I'll take the top 5 dude.
Yep. So not, good for you, Colorado. You kept them because I didn't think they were going to be able to, but there was talk yesterday of how the Colorado Avalanche were going to Necas and being like, hey, man, can you cut us a little slack? We're going to have to pay Cale Makar, and your slack was $500,000 less than what Mikko Rantanen got.
All right, let's get to the text line for some of these questions before we get to Jordan Schmaltz on the other side. From Well Endowed. Guys, who would be your pick right now to be World Series MVP?
Guerrero Jr. or Yasevich. I said Guerrero, and then I went with Yasevich.
I think I'd go Guerrero.
I think I'd go Guerrero because, Yasevich pitched twice?
Yeah.
Be Guerrero
and really
for
only
me.
one game was the dominant one.
Yeah. It's a pretty damn good one, though.
Yeah.
In L.A., in a dire game.
Guerrero is the heavy favorite right now in Vegas. He's minus 195, so you have to bet $195 to win 100. Shohei is next at plus 250, and I think those are the two best guys in the series so far. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers. Last thing here, guys, before we get to Jordan Schmaltz coming up on the other side. Guys, based on Yasevich's pathway to the majors, I believe the Cardinals' philosophy would never allow for that type of rise. Do you agree? I do not. I think if they had a player that was as successful in the minors and as quick moving in the minors as Yasevich, I think you could see something similar. Hell, next year, I think you could see Liam Doyle at the end of the year. It's really only like 5 starts at the major league level for Yasevich during the regular season. Liam Doyle could do something similar. I just don't know that the Cardinals are going to be playing into October.
Yeah, I think they have the possibility to do that. It's just a matter of how fast does Doyle go through the system. But look, when you get a highly touted player like Liam Doyle, you hope that he can match that Yasevich energy.
It is 12 o'clock. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll give you the latest on the college football coaching carousel. There's been another coach that was involved in many of these discussions that has signed a long-term extension in his current spot. We'll tell you who that is in 15 minutes. Jordan Schmaltz, former NHL defenseman, now the host of the Missing Curfew podcast, joins us next here on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex Ferrario and Tanner Hendrickson, I'm Brandon Kiley. Happy to go back out to the Callier and Thompson hotline to be joined by former Blues defenseman, the host of the Home by Three podcast. He is Jordan Schmaltz, joining us here on BK and Ferrario. Jordan, we appreciate the time, man. I saw your tweet the other day that you had a conversation with Jordan Bennington, so we wanted to reach out to find out, all right, what are the vibes like within the locker room right now? How you doing today, Jordan?
Well, first off, fellas, thanks for having me. It's always good to be back in the mix on some St. Louis radio. I feel like it was, probably as a player, I wasn't getting interviewed a ton, but there was a point in my career where I was a first-round pick of the St. Louis Blues. And
that's right.
Those were the days I think I was getting a little bit more media attention than my days, when I was packing my shit and headed out of town. So it's good to be with you guys. Thanks for having me. And, yeah, let's talk some Blues. Let's start it off with Jordan Bennington. But basically, fellas, he's one of my best friends, right? He's a guy that I roomed with in the minors and, still really close to this day. And, I try to leave him alone during the season for sure, but I just kind of just reached out because I'd seen him with Adam Sandler a couple nights, prior. And I was just like, what's going on in St. Louis? How the boys feeling and different things like that. And, I just always appreciate just his mindset. And I think those guys are going to be okay there. They got a great leadership crew. Obviously, Binner, Schenner, the coaching staff. So, yeah, that was kind of just the extent of chopping it up with Binner. And I think, they're going through it a little bit right now, but I think they're going to be all right.
Jordan, you've seen this before in the NHL. You've got a brother who played for a team that struggles for a long time when he was with the Arizona Coyotes before they moved to Utah. When a team's going through something like this, you mentioned Jordan Bennington, a calm, level head with this roster. Is that normal? I mean, it's not what you want to do to start the 10 games into the season 3-6-1, but is it normal to have these struggles and still find your way out of it?
I think so. And I think very mature teams and teams that have won, like there's still a big core of guys there, and especially around the organization now with the Steens and Bortuzzo and obviously Binner and Schenner still being there and Robert Thomas. So when you have a crew of a cast of guys that have won, you ultimately have confidence instilled in you when you're going through hard times, because as you know, that team, and I was on that team for the first half of the year, is we're the worst team in the league, and you know what happened there in 2019. So when you have those guys around that have been there before, you can kind of bleed that into maybe other players that are coming through different organizations now joining the team, say a guy like even, veterans like Cam Fowler, and, that bleeds all the way down to the younger guys trying to find their way. So when you have a team like this and you look at 10 game segments, like a lot of these teams in the NHL do, 3-6-1 isn't perfect, but you rattle off a couple 7-3s through your next 10 game segments or an 8-2, you're going to be fine. It's just, you can't panic too early, but the alarm needs to be sounded like, boys, we got to change something up because clearly it's not going how we planned coming out of training camp.
We're talking to Jordan Schmaltz here on 101 ESPN, former Blues defenseman, as he mentioned, former first-round pick by the St. Louis Blues as well. Jordan, when you talked to Jordan Bennington, I'm curious, what did he say? And I'm not asking you for all of it. Some of those personal conversations stay private. What did he say is kind of the message that they are giving to each other inside of the locker room right now?
Well, I think, I was talking to him after that game in Detroit where they lost 6-4, and it just seemed like the puck was just finding different ways to go, and it was going off of sticks. There was weird redirections. There was point shots going in off of maybe even their own bodies. There was some, different weird sequences of that game where it didn't really make sense, even though they had the lead early and then let it slip away. So that was kind of just to me, that was a tell sign of just where they're at right now. Like they're not getting the bounces, but they're also not playing to a standard that, nor should they get those bounces. So I think when you get to a position like that, you kind of just got to throw everything out the window a little bit and just go compete and just play. And I think that was the biggest thing we kind of connected on, and just, the information he did share was, let's just go out there and play. Let's block out the noise and let's see what we can, maybe get going and try to create different momentum and stop the bleeding right here. And then ultimately, hopefully piece together a few wins. So if there's a big game tonight, obviously you guys know you got the Canucks coming to town. That's a big test. The Canucks are struggling a little bit, as is too. They're 5-6. So, but it just starts with one, fellas. And I think that's what those guys know, and they know best, is they know how to turn the page and just kind of block everything out and just go about their business.
So Jordan, you mentioned, like, as players, you look at this, you say, we got to do something different. We got to switch something up because this vibe right now is not what we want to move forward with. So as a player, how do you do that? Is that an individual switch things up? Is that just a matter of, your pregame traditions are different, or is there something bigger that goes on in the locker room?
I don't know. I mean, there's some guys that are so gung-ho about their routine that they're never going to change anything up. There's different things you can do where they're, you don't want to, it's not like you want to, if you're a white tape guy, you're not switching to black tape yet, right? It's not like that. And it's not like I should have a couple beers at pregame skate. We're not there yet, or after pregame skate. We're not there yet. And maybe that's a little old school, but I think you just stick with what you know, right? And especially a lot of these veterans. I think the one thing that you can do is just simplify your game. And I know that's so cliche and every coach says that, but it's like, maybe I just go out there tonight and I try to win every 50-50 battle, and I'll see what happens at the end of the night. I'm not worried about getting my cookies on the power play. I'm not worried about joining the rush if I'm a defenseman. I'm not worried about leading the rush or getting caught, if that's my role. I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to try to win every single 50-50 puck. And at the end of the night, if I can win 65% of those, I think, with guys on board doing the same thing, we're going to end up on the right side of things tonight. So I think it's more so that I don't think, like I said, I don't think you're in the full panic where you're like calling your agent, asking him what you should do. It's like, maybe if I'm a pasta guy, am I just going to go throw my gut, an absolute joker of a card and go to Jimmy John's or something like that? It's not like that right now, boys. It's not there yet. We're not in dire straits. So I think you stay with your process off the ice and just simplify your game on the ice is what I would say.
What's your level of confidence they're going to get back on track, Jordan?
I don't know. I mean, I love St. I love St. Louis.
We're feeling the same way, man. Yeah. You're not alone.
Right. I love the Blues. I love the organization, despite whatever, how it shook out for me. I still have a lot of love for those guys in the locker room. I love Alex Steen. Obviously, you know how I feel about all the guys on the team. But in saying that, you're going to need more from Philip Broberg. You're going to need more from Dylan Hollowell. You're going to need more from probably even Cam Fowler. It's just, that's the reality. And it's not like I'm dogging on those guys, but I think if you need to be a competitive team and a playoff team and where they want to be in terms of building up of last year, that's the reality of the business. It's what have you done for me lately? And these guys have struggled a little bit out of the gates, but here's to say we got 70 odd games left, 72. Let's turn this thing around. And you can't get too caught up in like looking at where are we at Thanksgiving or where are we at Christmas. Like right now, it's just like day by day. And I think if you can kind of simplify that, stack some wins up and kind of go from there. But I think if there's a coach that can do it, it's Monty. Just the swagger that guy has and the belief he puts into teams. I think they're going to be okay when it's all said and done.
Jordan, I want to ask you about a couple of specific players. One is Logan Mailloux. I'm sure you've probably seen some of the stuff he's done this season or his NHL career. Coming from a defenseman who was in the AHL, made his way to the NHL. What's a guy like this going through in terms of the struggles early on and trying to get yourself out of your own head while, of course, competing at the NHL level?
Yeah, it's hard. And especially when you come over in a trade, people have high hopes for you internally and externally. You definitely feel that you're slotted in to be an NHL regular, but you haven't really been in that position in your career yet, in your young career. And you're a high pick, you're a right shot, big body, obviously the potential is there. And it draws a lot of comparisons, I think, honestly, to me, in terms of, what was going to be given to you and how you kind of have to navigate your way and find a role. And then, when you start to slip a little bit in your play, your minutes go down, and then that's where you start to lose your confidence. So if I was talking to him, look, it seems like he's got a lot of cooks in the kitchen in terms of he's talking to the right people around the organization, right? Hall of Famers, Al McInnes, Chris Pronger, Bortuzzo, you got a lot of resources there, but at the same time, I think, like my message was earlier, you just got to play and you got to believe in yourself. And that's where I think, if I was talking to him, not that we need another cook in the kitchen, and I'm not nowhere near those guys' pedigree, but I just think like for what I know and be in that position of trying to find your way of like establishing being a defenseman first and then adding offense and then getting limited minutes, like you can't lose your swagger. Like as soon as your confidence goes, man, and your self-belief, because right now that's maybe the only thing you have going right now is like your inner belief. So I think for him, like whatever he's got to do, whatever he's got to, if it's singing 1,000 miles after practice, just kind of jamming out in his car. I don't know what you got to do, but I don't think you can't let that moxie or that confidence that got you to this point slip, because that's what you really need to, just believe in yourself. So that would be my message to him.
All right, Jordan, I've got one quick message for you, because your brother kicks the Blues' ass every time that they go up against Utah. He has 40 points in 38 career games against the St. Louis Blues. Can we just have him chill out a little bit next time that Utah is in town? Maybe relax a little bit against the St. Louis Blues at this point.
I know it's like an auto point every time he plays. And there was the COVID season where the Blues and the Coyotes, they did a best of 7. I think they played each other 7 times in a row. It was crazy. And yeah, I think ever since then, I think he's clocking into the game. He's just like, I'm probably good for 1-1 tonight, fellas. Like it's just is what it is. It's one of those teams. He's just got their number. Him and Kells too. Kells plays. I don't know what Kells' numbers are against the Blues, against his local squad, but he lights them up every time too. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's got a vendetta out for St. Louis, but he seems to always play well against our Blues.
More importantly, who used to win between you guys, Jordan? It was you, right?
In just one-on-one or what?
Fights, whatever, man. Whatever you guys got into. Who was victorious?
I don't know if I can swear on this network, but I kicked the crap out of him. You know what I mean? I'll keep it PG for sure. I still got 40 pounds on him. You know what I mean? He's like, this guy's like 6 feet tall, 170. He's like a wet paper bag, and he still just gets it done out there. He's got strong hands though, so I will give him that, and strong feet.
Jordan, this has been great, man. Good to catch up with you. Hopefully we'll be able to do this again soon. Hopefully next time, if the Blues have some kind of big win streak going, we can talk a little more positive about what they're doing.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me, fellas. Big one tonight, and I'm a friend of the show now, so anytime you need me, I'll pop on. So
absolutely.
Great chat with you guys.
I love it. Thanks,
Appreciate
Jordan.
You. As Jordan Schmaltz joining us here on BK and Ferrario. Appreciate his time. Former Blues defenseman, first-round pick, host of the Home by 3 podcast. Does some really good work on social media as well. So if you want to check him out, he's an enjoyable, fun follow over there as well. He's at J_Swish, SWISH. 24 on Twitter.
And we got a new friend of the show.
There you go.
How about that?
Come on one time, become a friend of the show. That's the way that works here on BK and Ferrario.
That's how it works on this show. Jay Schwish, ladies and gentlemen. And also, don't be so hard on yourself. He was my go-to for interviews because I was young at the time and he was a healthy scratch. And I was like, I want the guy Jordan Schmaltz to talk to.
There you go.
This is great.
All right. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll continue our Blues interviews for today with Joey Vitale, another Vibes guest that we can have here on the show. Bringing up the vibes here on BK and Ferrario. Had prongs, had swish. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll get into a conversation with Joey Vitale. But next, Eli Drinkwitz and Lane Kiffin, you want to talk about vibes? It ain't great as a Missouri Tigers fan right now, because another name was just taken off of the coaching search options for this offseason. We'll tell you who that is and what it means for Eli Drinkwitz next year on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. So, Alex, we got an update today on the college football coaching front.
Oh, no. Did Drink already take the job?
Nope, but no extension on that front for him. There is, however, an extension for Matt Rule at the University of Nebraska. So he will not be, we assume, he will not be the next head coach at Penn State. This extension for Rule keeps him at Nebraska through 2032, and it also includes a $15 million buyout that effectively eliminates him from this coaching cycle. So take Matt Rule's name off of the list. Kurt Signetti already took his name off of the list as he got that extension from Indiana. Man, those were the top two candidates that appeared at Penn State. So I don't know where Penn State will turn next. This was the most logical landing spot. They'll just get the guy that's a Penn State alum. He has a bunch of connections to the Penn State athletic director, and now that's over. Matt Rule, contract extension with the University of Nebraska. Lane Kiffin and Eli Drinkwitz sure seem like the top two candidates right now for jobs, Alex. You've got LSU open, you've got Florida open, Penn State open. Those are the top three jobs currently on the market. I'm freaking out a little bit over here. I'm officially nervous because, I think all three jobs are really good jobs. I think you can win a national championship at any of those three universities. Hell, this century, the only coach to not win a national title at LSU was Brian Kelly. So if you go there, the odds are pretty much in your favor that you're going to win a natty. So, yeah, it's a really good job. The one thing that gives me a little bit of hope was hearing the LSU governor yesterday talking about the LSU job. T-Bone, I think we've got this audio on what their plans are for the next head coach at LSU. Go ahead and take a listen.
I can tell you right now, Scott Woodward is not selecting the next coach. Hell, I'll let Donald Trump select it before I let him do it. I don't know, but the Board of Supervisors is going to come up with a committee, and they're going to go find us a coach. Hold on. One real quick thing on that. Because here's what y'all reporters need to do. Y'all need to start looking at who represents all these people. Like these agents. You know what's interesting? If I'm not mistaken, Woodard's agent, Kelly's agent, the Texas A&M, they're all the same agent. Like you realize if I would be, I don't know how many sports writers we got here today? Just you. We should have a bunch. Okay? Like this is ridiculous. Lawyers would be disbarred for the way these agents act and the way they're able to represent. In fact, there's no doubt, they may even represent some of the players now.
So that was the LSU governor.
First of all, I love his voice. You could put that on a cartoon character, and my goodness, you would have some fun.
Apparently, we have nothing better to do right now in Louisiana other than this. To be fair, I promise you, everybody in Louisiana is interested in who the next football coach is. I love how he's
like, how many are you in here? That's embarrassing.
He was on the Pat McAfee show just a little bit ago. Jeff Landry, again, the governor of the state of Louisiana. And he said that the next head coach is going to have a completely different contract. Now, I think his idea is actually a pretty good one. I don't think it's going to attract the best candidates to their job, but I think it's a good idea for the way that these contracts probably should be structured. His idea is it's all incentive-based. So you earn, $4 million a year. That's your base pay. And if you get to 8 wins, you get an extra $2 million. If you get to 10 wins, you get an extra $2 million on top of that. If you get to the college football playoff, you earn an extra $2 million. And it continues beyond that. So everything that you reach that is a good season, it adds to the incentive pay. And if you end up winning the national title, you could win, make $20 million. So you've got a ton of incentives that get you to a crazy number. But you've got to win in order to get to that number. And the idea is you would also have a lower buyout associated with your contract. All of that's fine and well. And again, I like the idea in theory, but you're working within a market that's not what the market rate is. If I'm Eli Drinkwitz or Lane Kiffin, why am I taking that job when I can just make $13 million guaranteed by staying at my current university? It doesn't make sense for me to do so. So, again, in theory, I like the idea, but this is getting messy very quickly at LSU, Alex.
I just said Trump's going to be naming his next coach. Now, we're not getting politicals, but like, whoa, man.
He also said the board of supervisors is going to be the one that picks their next head coach, which sounds very similar to what happened at Mizzou, by the way.
So Drink's going to LSU?
Picked Eli Drinkwitz, where the AD selected Blake Anderson. The board of curators said that's not good enough, and we'll go hire the next guy. And then a year later, the AD was gone. Here's what the director of the board of supervisors said when asked about that comment yesterday from the governor.
Governor Landry announcing today in a press conference that the Board of Supervisors will be heading that up. Do you have any response, any comment at this time?
No, I didn't know that.
Do you have any idea what the next steps might look like?
Next steps are we're going to go hire the best coach for Louisiana State University. I promise you. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. Rawr.
Did you know that you're going to be in charge of hiring?
No,
I didn't know.
No. I'll have to have a conversation with him on that one. So not a good start for the coach. I think we could cross Drink's name probably off of LSU. Sounds like they're going to be a mess this offseason.
Yep. It's going to be a long off season when it comes to the LSU. This is a weekend, guys. Yeah. This is the first week of their coaching search.
LSU was like, man, we can't handle Brian Kelly's 8 wins. It's like, man, the way you guys are trending, I don't know what you're going to be next year. Yeah. 6 wins feels on the table.
There are not enough good candidates for these jobs.
No.
Especially the rule's gone. Signetti's off the table. If Lane Kiffin extends, dude, Drinkwitz is going to get like $30 million a year.
Well, Mizzou better fork over that money
LSU.
then.
I mean, he's soon going. If Lane Kiffin were to extend, or teams decide we're not waiting until January to hire a coach, Drinkwitz is the clear-cut #1 candidate for every one of these jobs, right?
I would say so. Yeah, if Kiffin resigns, it's Franklin and Drink.
And like Franklin's not good enough. No, I like James Franklin. I think he's a good coach. He's not good enough to be an exciting hire at either LSU or Florida. We've already seen what he does with money, with resources at a top-flight program.
It's going to sound super mean, but is Drink?
Yes, because you can convince yourself, you can sell yourself the idea. He got them to 10 wins consistently. Now imagine what he could do if he had our resources. Whereas James Franklin had the resources.
Yeah.
What left is there to sell?
Yeah,
your selling point would be like, well, I guess at some point he gets over the top, right? But we've been saying that for 5 years now at Penn State.
If I'm a program that's not like expected to be in the college football playoffs, I'll take Franklin just so I could be double digits.
It's the old like the Family Guy mystery box thing, right?
Oh yeah, I want the box.
It could be a boat or a mystery box. The mystery box could even be a boat. Like that's
you never know.
That's the idea behind what Drinkwitz could be. Drink is the mystery box in this scenario. James Franklin, you know exactly what you're getting with him as your head coach. It's good. Boat. Just the ceiling we know is limited.
Well, and as we learned from Family Guy, Peter was very dumb and he took the box, so they should take the boat instead and keep the box where it's at.
Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll dive into the junk drawer, but Joey Vitale joins us next here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Blues back in action tonight as they host the Vancouver Canucks. We'll have pregame coverage tonight starting at 6 o'clock with Alex Ferrario, and puck drop at 7 o'clock with Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale. And our Blues analyst, Joey Vitale, joins us next here on BK and Ferrario. This Sports Center update was driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Alongside Alex Ferrario and Tanner Hendrickson, I'm Brandon Kiley. Happy to go out to the Callier and Thompson hotline to talk more Blues. This time with Joey Vitale. He's the Blues analyst for FanDuel Sports Midwest and, of course, for 101 ESPN. Joe, appreciate the time as always, man. How you doing today?
Joey! You're so awesome. Congrats on your chicken-lated egg.
What's up, boys? How we doing?
We're doing all right, Joe. We're doing all right.
Nice.
How are you? More importantly, Joe, how are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. You kidding me?
Oh, okay.
Sun's out. Got a Blues game tonight. Got Halloween tomorrow. Holy cow. God's been good to me. I've been blessed by the best, BK.
Well, I love to hear that, Joe.
Right. Sun's out. Does that mean the guns are out, Joe? You got those arms out tonight?
Nah, I put the puppies away for the winter, Alex.
Understandable.
Sorry, ladies.
Understandable.
Sorry, ladies.
Yeah, you'll get them back out there springtime, buddy. Just when the Blues are pushing for a playoff
I feel
spot.
like Joe's more of a skies out, thighs out kind of guy.
Oh, yeah. It's hard to contain those things, you know.
I don't know what Joe would pride himself. Joe, would you pride yourself more in the upper body muscles or the bottom muscles?
I feel like we have ventured into
Joey
an
talks
area.
all the time. He's got a hockey rear end. He's got some good thighs, some good calves.
I don't care to talk about Joey's thighs or rear end any longer than we already have, though.
Joe, I'll ask. I don't care.
I don't know, boys. I'll be honest with you. Like, there's a lot of mass below the waist. I mean, there's a lot of leg. My wife, we were dating. In college, and she's like, she always to this day she'll tell me, she's like, I have never seen anything quite like that. Now it's not what you want to say. That's not what she was talking about. I wish you were, but no, she was talking about my legs, my quads. These things, these things are,
You could have kept it at the leg. It's fine.
All right, Joe. So. Listen, it could be going better for the Blues right now. 5 straight losses. You've been in locker rooms before where things, I'm assuming, haven't gone your way for a little while. What's that room like when you get into a situation like this and you're just trying to search for something positive?
Yeah, it's tough, right? I mean, I was on the fast lane yesterday. I brought up those magic eyes. We've talked about Rubik's cubes. I try to give people perspective or analogies to kind of help them. Okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense. You know, it's like that. It's like looking at a Rubik's cube, or you're like looking at this thing, and the big question is, where do I even begin? Right? How do I start? That's the frustrating part. It's hard because I don't know if this team has really identified one major thing outside of maybe one thing. I'll get to that in a second. But you feel like you got the best goaltender tandem in the league. This team still does, and I still believe they do. You're looking at that may be an issue, so you can't really solve that. Special teams kind of been up and down. Have there been bad bounces? Yes. So you see, it's just a multi-layered thing where you find yourself asking the question, okay, where do we begin? And I think that this team and Jim Montgomery, they have made that first turn. They're going to start this Rubik's Cube, and they are going to make that first move, and they are going to start from the very bottom, which is you have to figure out a way to protect the middle of the ice in your defensive zone. Let's start there, right? Let's just begin there. And that's exactly what is going to be the biggest difference tonight. Talking to some of the Blues players here this morning, watching morning skate, watching the optional yesterday, it is very clear that they want to take this step one at a time. And that first step is, how do you limit the high-quality danger chances in front of you? Because this team it's a bit of an anomaly when you look at the analytics. Defensively, top 5 in the league on most categories. Crazy, I know. They've given up one of the worst goals against averages right now, but defensively they're top 5. So what does that tell you? It tells you that the chances they're giving up are crushing them. You know, Jim Montgomery said yesterday, this is like giving a softball to pool holes every game. You know what I mean? That's what it looks like, where the chances they're giving up, there's not many of them, but the ones they're giving up, it's like right at the heart. It's right in the middle, right above that blue paint, and you're kind of leaving your goaltenders to fend for themselves. So to me, guys, that's where I begin. And I think if the Blues can begin there, to answer your question, BK, about what's the feeling isn't good. But you begin there, you get a win tonight, all of a sudden you're starting to feel a little bit better. And then you have something you can build upon. But it's got to start at the foundation, which is they've got to start limiting chances in front of their goaltenders.
Joe, I think the biggest question that we've gotten a lot lately is how does this happen to the defense? Because, I mean, they were the stingiest team in the National Hockey League from Christmas on last year, and then they come out this year, a full training camp with Jim Montgomery. It's not like these guys forget how to play defense.
No, you don't forget how to play defense. You know, you don't, Alex. You know, I think it's important to note that you lost a lot of wisdom back there. You know, I said it before in the last week or so. I'm not sure if it was on your show or the broadcast, but you lose Nick Leddy and Ryan Suter. You leave 2,500 games of experience, right? You replace it with 2 new guys that have together 100 games of experience, right? It's a difference of 2,400 plus games, right? With that is wisdom, knowledge, poise, under control, right? Good tempo, you know, not running out of control. So right now, we have a situation where you have younger defensemen back there. Now, with younger defensemen, what do you have? Well, you have players that they want to please, right? So what does a young player do when they want to please? They want to play aggressive. And I think that at times, especially the way the game is played, guys are so good. Defensively, if you are over-aggressive, right, it's going to haunt you, right? In some ways, less is more. And I think that what I'm seeing in the D zone, to answer your question, is that we're seeing at times this team behind, gripping the stick tight. And when you're behind and gripping the stick tight, everyone wants to turn this thing around themselves, and you end up being too aggressive. You know, look at that goal by Soderblom last game. You know, Nathan Walker's in front of the net. He sees an option. He makes a decision. It's a one-on-one behind the net. He decides to go. I'm going to 2-on-1 this guy. He goes, he misses, his guy's right behind him, scores an easy goal, right? That's what I'm talking about. Everyone wants to be aggressive, and they want to step outside the middle to make that play. But remember, everything has to come through the middle of the ice. So that's what I mean when I say I think that this team can really benefit right now from being patient. They can be patient, watch for a much more passive defensive zone tonight. You're not going to see a lot of guys running out of control. You may see the Vancouver Canucks with a lot of offensive zone time, but ideally you want it to be the outside. This is where you have to be patient, and you have to allow those things to happen on the outside, but you have to protect the middle of the ice. When you're doing that and you're stopping and starting, you're not drifting out of your positions in the middle. To me, that's where you have to start building, and that's, to me, been the biggest difference between last year defending and right now this year.
All right, Joe, we'll get you out of here on this one. Joey Vitale, our guest here on 101 ESPN. You'll hear him on the call tonight. Blues versus the Canucks. Pregame starts at 6, puck drop at 7. Dalibor Dvorsky will be back on the ice tonight for the Blues. The expectation, according to Morning Skate, is that he'll be centering that second line with Jordan Kyrou and Matthew Joseph. What'd you think about the line combination that they had for the young men?
I like it. I'm excited for him. I know he's excited to be here. You know, I had a good chat with him with Andy Strickland this morning. He seems pumped up. He looks like a kid that's confident, you know, and this is why you call players up and you give them a handful of games before season's end. It's why you give them good opportunities in preseason, because ideally when you bring them up right now in this call-up, you want him to be very, very calm, and you want him to be ready to make a difference in the game. You don't want him to be really fighting a ton of nerves. He's going to be a little nervous, right? But nowhere near the way he was last year in his first call-up. So they're excited for a confident kid who's been playing well in the minors to come up and make a difference in the game, you know? And right there, playing with Jordan Kyrou, Matthew Joseph, I mean, you're playing with fast hockey players. You know, Matthew Joseph, I think he has been the most direct hockey player that this team has seen consistently all season long. Like, what I mean by that is he's predictable. He's going to go north. He's going to go fast, right? And then, of course, on Jordan Kyrou's wing, you got a guy that can score goals. You know, if Dalibor Dvorsky wants to distribute or he wants to shoot, he's got options both ways. So I love the youngness. I love the rawness on his line. And without a doubt, this is a player who needs top-line minutes. He needs top-line players. And with the injury to Neighbors and Robert Thomas, well, he's going to get exactly what he wants. So an excellent opportunity for him to go out there tonight and make a difference.
It'll be interesting to see him back on the ice for the St. Louis Blues. You'll hear Joey Vitale on the call with Chris Kerber right here on your home of the Blues, 101 ESPN. Joe, appreciate the time as always, man. Be well. We'll talk with you again soon.
Appreciate you, boys.
See you, Joey. Joey Vitale joining us as he does each and every Thursday here on BK and Ferrario. Alex, Jim Montgomery was asked about Dalibor Dvorsky skating tonight with Kyrou and Joseph. He said the following, quote, "We want to give the kid chances to have success, so let's give him a really dynamic offensive winger, Kyrou, and let's give him a winger that checks and goes really hard at both ends of the ice and knows the details of our game, Matthew Joseph. It's a good mix of wingers. I think Matty Joe has been doing a lot of good things offensively. His speed, driving to the net, being at the net. There's a lot of things to complement Dvorsky, who we think is an offensive centerman who can drive the line." What do you think, Alex?
I agree. Matthew Joseph has played so consistently and confidently that you want to put him out there with a guy that, you know, is confident coming into it, but he's 20 years old. So you want a direct player. And Jordan Kyrou is dynamic offensively. So I like it the way that it starts. I just don't know what it will look like as the game continues to unfold. I think, actually, this sounds crazy to say. Part of me wondered if maybe you would have tried Holloway and Kyrou with Dvorsky. Offensive line, two speedy forwards. Holloway plays a lot like Joseph. I think the reason you're not seeing that is because they're still working on Holloway getting to his game.
That's what I was going to say. I think right now, if you had to ask me who's playing better between Joseph and Holloway, I don't expect this to be the case a week, a month, a year from now. But today, the player that's been better for the Blues so far this season is Matthew Joseph.
And I also think there was a quote from Monty today talking about how Sundqvist is like a binky to a baby for a coach. Mm-hmm. You just know he's going to provide it. And that's what you want on a line with Dylan Holloway right now. You want certainty with where the puck is going so he can continue to find his game. So I like the line combination. I don't know if it's going to stick. Probably won't, because in games it will fluctuate. But, man, I mean, overall, I think that's where you want to put Dalibor Dvorsky. Get him confidence offensively so that he can get to the game as he's playing.
Can I make a prediction for you?
Sure.
That quote that you just mentioned about Oscar Sundqvist is why I would imagine at some point in this game we will see Sonny with Dvorsky.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know if Kyrou will be on that line when it happens, but my guess is at some point, I could even see like a Dvorsky, Holloway, Sonny where they just switch Suter and Dvorsky.
Or they switch Kyrou and Sundqvist and put Sonny and Joseph with Dvorsky. That might be a third period line to where if they have the lead or if they're in a tie hockey game and you got to get a little bit tighter defensively, you say, all right, now let's switch this up a little bit, because that's the mismatches you're looking for if you're Jim Montgomery. But I like the idea to make sure you could get the best out of Dvorsky, have him confident in the game. And if you get him out there rolling with two good players that can get the puck in the offensive zone, maybe he gets an assist, maybe he gets a couple of shots. That's where you get him playing his best.
He's Alex Ferrario. That's Tanner Hendrickson. I'm Brandon Kiley. If you guys have missed any of our conversations, Blues-related today, we had a lot of good ones. We talked to Chris Pronger, the Hockey Hall of Famer. We also talked to former Blues first-round pick and defenseman Jordan Schmaltz. He gave us a little bit of an idea on what the vibes are like right now inside of the locker room. And, of course, we spoke with Joey Vitale, as we do each and every Thursday. You can find all of those conversations after the show today at 101ESPN.com and the free 101 ESPN app. The podcast is sponsored by
Schaefer Door Company.
Alex, also over on the YouTube feed, youtube.com/101ESPN-STL. People can find our podcast over there if you prefer it in video format. And while they are there, they can check out the latest edition of the Last Minute Blues podcast. Already 2,500 views. Woo. You could be the next. What can people expect when they go to find it?
Oh, man, we tried to be your therapist on that episode. We tried to break down what's going on. We were calm, cool, and collected, as you would imagine. Me, Donnie, JR.
Sure.
Lots to discuss.
Donnie was very calm, cool, and collected.
You might have heard an F-bomb at some point. You'll have to sift through the whole thing. But we also answered some emails because obviously fans are frustrated right now. So lots to break down as this team is just in a weird spot right now.
Last Minute Blues podcast available right now at youtube.com/101ESPN-STL. Coming up in 15 minutes, the Cardinals are putting their money where their mouths are. We'll talk about that in 15 minutes. The junk drawer, though, is next here on 101 ESPN. quick update on the LSU football situation that we were talking about a couple of segments ago, Alex. Ross Dellinger of Yahoo Sports just tweeted this out. On Sunday, Louisiana's governor told LSU officials to fire their athletic director.
That the dude? No, that we heard from the governor.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, that governor is who said, you guys need to fire that guy, their athletic director.
Sucks to be the athletic director, but if I'm a coach right now, I don't want to go to that mess.
He just, Ross Dellinger, who writes for Yahoo Sports, he's very plugged in Louisiana, used to cover them down there. He said, quote, now LSU's coaching search is in peril. The athletic director job is in doubt, and it seems bound for court with Brian Kelly.
Oh.
Other than that, though, good situations abound for LSU. All right, T-Bone, what do you have for us today in the junk drawer?
Well, have you guys seen Planet of the Apes, the famous movie?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Honest?
Sorry, go ahead.
I have not.
Oh,
I haven't seen the old one. I've seen the remake, which
Did
was
you
like
see the remake where how they show how it starts? And would you call it an apocalypse? I don't know if it's an apocalypse.
I mean, kind of like it's a zombie apocalypse. It's just apes take over rather than zombies.
It might be happening in Mississippi. I mean, things aren't going well for the Southeast right now.
Like
I mean, LSU football program's in peril. There was a truck that was carrying lab monkeys to Tulane University, and the truck crashed. And it killed a couple of the monkeys, but then 3 escaped, and they are looking for those 3 monkeys now that were lab monkeys. And there was a report out there. Now, there's been some reporting that has tried to dispute this, but there was a report out there the truck driver told local police that, hey, these monkeys are dangerous, and tell people not to approach them if they see them, just to call local authorities. Doesn't it just scream Planet of the Apes going on down there in good old Mississippi?
Need to, say that out loud? Hey, those are dangerous, and you shouldn't approach them. Do we need to say that? Like, shouldn't you know already? Like,
they look
oh my
cute
gosh.
and fluffy.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
They're monkeys. I would approach them. It's a monkey, man.
Well, you're part of the problem then. Don't
maybe.
approach a freaking loose monkey.
Okay.
What do you think it's going to do? Jump up on you and have a fun time?
Yeah.
They seem great at the zoo.
See?
How many deaths have we seen where people have like, oh, I've got a monkey as a pet, and then the monkey just destroys the individual?
0.
Yeah,
There's been news stories.
Not
There's
once.
a whole documentary about it.
You're thinking of Tiger King. That was tigers.
No, it was monkeys. There was a whole documentary about it.
21 different monkeys were in this thing. Only 3 of them got out, though.
Yeah, it's a pretty good ratio.
They're about to start Madagascar. Next movie from Disney coming out to a theater near you.
Don't worry, the other 18 are still plotting their escape.
There you go. You wouldn't?
No.
You wouldn't approach them?
No. Do you know the type of strength that these things have?
The monkeys also have
chimp crazy. Is that the documentary?
Diseases as part of their research. Well, that ain't great.
DK's like, I'm going to go over and make friends
This is
with
weird
it.
because there's a bunch of reports that say, hey, these monkeys have these diseases, and by the way, don't approach them. And there's reports like, no, hey, they're friendly, and they don't have this.
Okay, cool.
I don't think monkeys are friendly when they're in a zoo setting when they can't actually approach you.
What about in the wild?
No, they're not.
On Dirk 3K, Alex is right. A lady owned a chimpanzee. It basically ripped her face off.
Yeah.
Not great.
Yeah. And she was like, oh, this is my pet. I love him. And then, like, the next week, there was a police report because I think she was found dead. Her face was essentially disformed.
All right, so don't approach the monkeys. What we have learned here today, if you go down to Mississippi this week and you see 3 monkeys on the side of the road, please don't approach them.
Doesn't even need to be Mississippi. Don't approach the monkeys in general.
Chimp Crazy was the documentary on HBO. Woman lived in Festus with them.
I think the Riz Show had her in studio,
We've
if
had
I'm
a
not
few
mistaken.
too many documentaries about this general area.
That one just came out
recently.
5 years too late. Katie sent me a short story the other day. Apparently, they were like searching somebody's yard, excavating their yard because they thought a body was under there of a woman that was missing. And I don't remember where it was. It was like the South County area. It was Oakville.
We're watching the new John Wayne Gacy.
We're watching that
documentary on Hulu.
This is going to sound awkward. That was our anniversary, what we watched last night. we were supposed to go out. We didn't go out. We put the girls to bed, and we were like, well, what do you want to do? Let's watch TV. And we were like, oh, let's watch this documentary.
This
and then we started watching the series.
is a million times better than the recent Monsters documentary that came out on Netflix. That one did nothing for me. This one's really good. It's really well done.
They'll do a monster one probably sooner or later on John Wayne Gacy, I would
guess
imagine.
technically this is not a documentary. This is a mini-series. It's a recreation of it, so I should be clear.
There's a documentary of him, too, on Peacock where, like, I think it's like the one where they had the audio recordings of him when he was in prison, but it's a wild story.
Scrolling Twitter while we're talking about monkeys, I just saw this on Twitter.
Somebody
A monkey wearing a diaper was spotted in the rafters at a Spirit Halloween store in Texas. The primate escaped its owner and is being scared by moving spooky animatronics.
Cool. So we've got
First of
three
all,
down
why's
in
the monkey got the
Mississippi.
diaper
We got
on?
one in Texas.
One
Who
in
put the
Texas.
diaper on the monkey?
Well, probably the owner.
lost them. Yeah,
You don't want it peeing or pooping all over the house.
exactly.
I don't want to approach the put the diaper on the monkey.
Apparently, it's well trained.
Yeah.
It's hanging out at a Spirit Halloween store.
Could you imagine it walking up to one of those like machines where it's like motion censored and it walks past and the machine just lunges at it? Monkey's just like whoop-ah! Right hook.
By the way, real quick, last night, speaking of things that we're watching right now, Love is Blind. Yesterday was the
I'm out. Turn my mic off. I'm
I
out.
should have known that was where his transition was going.
Ryder turns to me this morning and I told him we watched that John Wayne Gacy show. He goes, "Oh, I watched the Love is Blind finale," and I just walked out of the room.
Did he really?
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, let's go to break, and you two
you
can go
two go
chat
over
it
there.
up in the what do they call that in the
Yesterday
So
was
Cone
the
of Silence.
reunion.
Cone of Silence.
They all came together, and man, the tea was spilled, Alex. A lot of them apparently hooking up with one another, which I assume happens most seasons, but this year they were just public about it. And, like, it seems as though everybody... spoiler alert, real quick, for anybody that hasn't seen it.
You're not going to
None of them got married. All of them, it seems, is basically, like, just found somebody else with the group. And one of them ended up getting knocked up by somebody else.
Oh.
Like a month after the show ended. She got out of this relationship, Alex, because she didn't want to be a mom, and then 3 months later, she was a mom.
Kind of trash are you watching?
It's called Love is Blind. It's a truly horrific television show, but I cannot stop watching. All right, with Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. I think the UK edition's coming out here relatively soon.
I will block out my calendar.
In 15 minutes, we'll play our game of Believe It or Not. So if you guys have a scenario, we'll tell you if we are believing it or not here on BK and Ferrario. But next, the Cardinals are putting their money where their mouth is. What do we make of it? We'll talk about it next here on 101 ESPN. Alex, we woke up to a new report today from Katie Wu, Cardinals insider for The Athletic. She mentioned on Twitter the Cardinals are making a series of staff changes throughout the organization. In addition to expanding their pro scouting department, Heimblum will also add a director of hitting and an international scouting director, along with other new support roles to the coaching staff. They do not, however, expect Yadier Molina to be a part of next year's coaching staff, but they remain open to finding some kind of a role for Yadier Molina within the organization. In her piece, which is up right now for you to read over at The Athletic, she goes into detail on exactly what the Cardinals are planning with their added staffing. Not to make too much of this, Alex, it basically comes down to this. They're investing once again in scouting in a significant way, and not just scouting the traditional sense of, hey, let's go and have these scouts go out there, find the best players in America, right? It's also pro scouting. It's guys that are going out there and doing advanced scouting for the team. Hey, here are some tells when the Royals went to the ALCS, I guess it would have been, against the Blue Jays. This is 10 years ago now. They had an advanced scout that found out exactly how Bautista handled his throws back into the infield. And they were like, hey, we can run on this guy. Like, there's a way that we can go about it in certain situations where he's just always going to throw it here, which is going to leave them exposed. And it allowed for them to eventually score a run in the series. It opens up stuff like that. A lot of teams, though, across Major League Baseball are cutting back in this area because they think they can just use their models, their algorithms to prepare for all of these games. Hey, if we've got all of the information on a spreadsheet, why do we need to pay somebody to go out there and watch these games and scout for us? The Cardinals have said, no, we can do all of that stuff. We want all of that information, but also we want these scouts to be available for us. We want to have more coaches down to the minor league system. We want to have the guy that we hired last year to oversee our pitching department, and Matt Pierpont. We want the hitting equivalent now to that in the minor league system as well. So they're doing what they said they would do. And so I don't want to overly credit them because they said they were going to do this, but I want to give them the credit that is due because in the past they've said things and then not followed up with it at times in the past, Alex. Seems like they're following up on it this time around.
Yeah, I mean, this is, to me, we've given a lot of criticism towards the DeWitts, and rightfully so. This is something that you have to at least give them their kudos. If we're going to talk negatively about them, when things like this happen, you got to talk positively. Because in that press conference, they say, we are going to give Heimblum the resources that he needs to get this job done. Well, they're doing it. They're giving him the money. I think the narrative is they're cheap and they won't spend. They're spending. They're not spending on the top market in the free agency, which is what people seem to want. Makes sense. But right now, the infrastructure is broken. And so they're saying, good, go hire what you need. Go out there. Money. All of it. Take it. Go get the pieces that gets us to this point. Now, I still think they're in denial, thinking that their history is made off of drafting and developing players.
Sure.
But if the infrastructure's broke, you got to fix it from the bottom up. And that's where they're starting. They're starting with the pillars, and then they're going to build the bricks on top of it. So they're giving Heimblum the money. They're saying, go out there and add to the hitting side of things. Go out there and dominate the international market. These are the elements that make teams great. It's behind the scenes that people don't know about.
Yeah, it's, to use a car analogy, if your transmission's broken, it doesn't really do you any good to upgrade the sound system throughout the car, right? Like, that's doing things backwards. The Cardinals right now are saying, all right, well, we need a new transmission. We need to go out there. Like, we've got a lot of stuff that needs to be done before we can get ourselves to working order at the major league level. So credit where it's due. They're finally figuring things out in the minor leagues. They are investing in the way that they said that they would. So we'll give them credit where they deserve it. Alex, one of the first things that they need to do this offseason, not on the staffing front, but on the player front, is decide which players are going to go. We talked the other day about Lars Nootbaar and whether or not he's somebody that's probably more likely than not to be back in 2026, for better or for worse, because of the surgery. Brendan Donovan also got surgery this offseason, but his is much less significant. Donnie is going to be a big-time trade candidate this offseason for opposing teams. He's relatively inexpensive. It's only his second time in arbitration. He's going to be somebody that a lot of teams are seeking out. Got 2 years left probably and about $15 million. Every team in Major League Baseball can afford him. He's a really good player. He can play second base. He can play third base. He can play a corner outfield spot for you. If you need him to, he can play first for you in a pinch. Hell, he could play shortstop for you in a pinch if you really needed him to for a short sample size. He's an awesome player. He's a great leader. There is nothing I have questions about when it comes to Brendan Donovan. He could help every team in Major League Baseball, especially if you're trying to contend today. So over at MLB Trade Rumors, they put together a list of the teams that they believe are the best fits for Brendan Donovan this offseason. It would be easier for me to read to you the list of teams that he doesn't fit, because it's basically nobody.
Say the White Sox?
But the cleanest fits, according to MLB Trade Rumors, are the following teams: the LA Angels, the San Francisco Giants, the Seattle Mariners, the San Diego Padres, the Texas Rangers, and the Kansas City Royals. The fact that they view 5 or 6 different teams as being legit, like very clean fits for Brendan Donovan as a trade candidate speaks to his value this offseason. Alex, now that we know it's probably going to be a return for Lars Nootbaar this year, do you think Brendan Donovan will and should be traded this offseason?
Yes and yes. Because I hesitated on the first yes because I don't know if he will, but he should be. And I hate saying it because it seems like he's a DNA type of player you want around your squad, but it doesn't really matter because he's at that age window to where he's in his prime now, and the Cardinals don't need prime players right now. They need players that are going to hit their prime in a few years when they're ready to actually compete. So if the market is this interested in Brendan Donovan, then what that tells me is there's going to be an auction for it. There's going to be a lot of battles, bidding wars taking place for Brendan Donovan's services. So if I'm Hein Bloom, I mean, I'm seeing the equivalent of dollar signs, but in prospect money. Like, that's what's available to you. If I've got 5 teams that want Brendan Donovan, then the price is going to go up in terms of what you're going to pay. And maybe they do, maybe they don't. That's the part I don't know if they're going to trade him. But I think you should, because right now, Brendan Donovan makes sense for a team that's trying to win now, and it makes sense for the Cardinals to get pieces that are going to be here and at the same window to try and win in 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, I expect Brendan Donovan to be traded because he just carries too much value, right? And they're at the point now where they've got to not only clear up the logjam that they have on their Major League roster, but to do it while also making sure that they end up getting a decent return back in these trades. You know, they can't just send off their scraps and just, trade away a Nolan Gorman while his value's low, trade away a Nootbaar while his value's low. You could do that, but that would be kind of what I would expect like Mo to do over the last couple of years. So this is going to be different under Hein Bloom. He's going to be seeking value in these moves. And, you mentioned some of those teams like San Francisco. They've had reportedly some interest in Gray. Okay, so can you work out a Donovan and Gray deal to send them to San Francisco, maybe get some pitching prospects in return? Seattle, for example, you mentioned them. The pitching coordinator came from there. So if you have a conversation with him, hey, who are some guys that you liked when you were over there in Seattle? Maybe we'll target them in return for Brendan Donovan. Those are the kind of conversations that they should be having. But, yeah, I expect that Brendan Donovan will not be a Cardinal come opening day.
Find yourself a pitcher that can come up and help you next year, or a guy that you think has a really high upside. Find the next Savage. If you can go find that elsewhere, that's the kind of thing that you should be looking to swing for with Brendan Donovan. I think this needs to go one of 2 directions. Either you're re-signing extending Brendan Donovan this offseason, get him like a 5-year deal, 5-year, $70 million, something like that, or you trade him. I don't think it makes any sense for Brendan Donovan to return to the Cardinals next year on his current contract, because that means you have 2 years to work with. And let's just be real, guys. They're probably not going to be a contender in that 2-year stretch. And if you decide to bring him back this upcoming year, well, you're just wasting away at some of the value that he still maintains. So either extend him. I understand the argument in favor of that. He's a really good player. You want him to be here for the next 5 years. He's not like aging out of his prime. You've got another few years potentially of him being in it. That's fine. I get it. I understand why you would want him to be here, but you either need to extend him or trade him. I think those are, to me, the only 2 options that should be on the table this offseason with Brendan Donovan.
And I wouldn't extend him. I would trade him or come back as is and trade him at the deadline if there's not as much interest around the league. I don't
to me, there's going to be interest in him this offseason, and position players I view a lot different than pitchers. Pitchers, I think, can gain more value at the trade deadline than they have in an offseason because of the lack of alternatives, especially when you're looking at relievers. There's a surplus value there in the offseason. Position player-wise, this is when they have the maximum value, especially guys on cheap contracts, because they're alternatives to going to the market. They are the alternative to go and paying $25 million for whoever the equivalent player on this year's free agent market is to Brendan Donovan. That guy gets paid, whereas Brendan Donovan's going to cost you $5 million this year.
Well, then there's no other reason than to be traded then. If that's the case and you don't feel like the value won't go up as the season goes on, then you trade him. And you can't come back with him. I wouldn't extend it. I just don't think it makes sense for the life cycle of this team right now. What you get in return makes a lot more sense for the team moving forward.
And otherwise, I just don't know how you're getting any value across this offseason. And that is kind of, no one likes to hear it, but when you're in a retool, that's kind of the buzzword that needs to be talked about when you're making these trades. Because otherwise, how are you freeing up playing time for Weatherholt? I mean, now I've got Winn at shortstop, third base. Like, if you do move on from Arenado, maybe then you shift Donovan over there and you go with Weatherholt at second. Okay, well, then that probably means I traded Gorman as well. And again, I'm selling low. So I just don't see a path to where Brendan Donovan is back here in St. Louis.
Dr. Zander on the YouTube chat said, it seems pretty obvious here. He plays second base and so does JJ. I don't know what the future holds for their infield.
Yeah.
JJ Weatherholt could be a third baseman long-term for you. Maybe Brendan Donovan is a third baseman for you long-term. I don't know what any of this holds for them, but those guys are going to be there. You've got Thomas Sajaci, who maybe is just a future utility infielder for you. Maybe Sajaci is the one that they move.
Could be.
Maybe this offseason they decide, you know what, we're trading Sajaci, we're trading Nolan Gorman, and we're trading Alec Burleson. And that's the way that we're going to go about it. And in one of those deals, maybe they do end up including Sonny Gray. Maybe they trade JoJo Romero to somebody else as well. And those aren't the players that we necessarily came into the offseason expecting to move, but that doesn't mean that it's not the way that it's going to go. You know, we don't know which direction ultimately they're going to build around with their infield heading into this offseason. All right, 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line. In 15 minutes, we're going to play a game of Beat the Blues. We do this each and every Thursday here on the show. We will do so today. We will have 4 different categories. We'll have categories going up against our player today, which is Logan Mailloux. So you're going to be going up against Logan Mailloux, naming as many different things as you can within a category.
I wasn't going to say anything.
I saw the look on
Text
his face.
in right now, 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line. Text in, I can beat the Blues. And we'll pick our contestants to go up against Logan Mailloux in about 15 minutes. Believe it or not is next here on 101 ESPN.
Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could feel so
free. Flying away on a wing and a prayer. Who could it be?
Believe it or not, it's just me.
314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for Believe It or Not. You guys give us a scenario. We will tell you if we are believing it or not here on BK and Ferrario. I thought that was a good addition today, boys.
Yeah.
I felt it.
I felt it
in my bones.
I'd get them fired up.
Remember when we came up with the Blues rally song? Wasn't that the year they rolled in their beach outfits for the Winter Classic in Minnesota?
Beach Boys. Yeah.
Good vibrations.
Didn't they take the one we didn't suggest, though?
Yeah, it was the other big. Which one was it? It's not the.
I don't remember which one it was that they ended up.
It was another Beach Boys song, and I was like, this is terrible.
We said go with Good Vibrations. They went with
another one.
One that never hit the charts.
Our idea was better.
Our ideas are always better.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for Believe It or Not. You guys give us a scenario. We will tell you if we are believing it or not here on BK and Ferrario. All right, guys. Believe it or not, Vandy's going to lose this weekend, and ultimately we're going to look at that game as the one that got away from Mizzou.
Get over it, man. Just get over it, okay?
Nah. Who they play this weekend?
Underdog
Texas?
this weekend against Texas.
That's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
3.5-point line in favor of Texas.
Nothing that I have seen this season tells me that Texas is a better team than Vanderbilt.
I agree.
I think Mizzou is a better team than Texas.
I keep saying this about lines, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
Well, you know what? You should make it your 3-point. Maybe I'll make it my 3-point play this week.
For the last 2 weeks, Texas went to overtime against Kentucky and Mississippi State, and Vegas is telling us they're better than Vandy, which doesn't make sense to me.
Doesn't this week that we're doing not count in our pick'em?
No, it does. It counts.
Okay, well, then I won't make it my 3-point play, but I'll believe it. Look, I think you're going to watch Vanderbilt the rest of the season, and you're going to go, they should have won that game. And they should be in the college football playoff conversation. It's going to irk at you because Vanderbilt, in my opinion, they're a good team, but they're on the same playing field as Mizzou, and Mizzou just wasn't good enough to get over it.
Yeah, I would not believe this because I think Vandy's a good football team. And I don't think you're going to look back on that one as the one that got away. I think the Alabama game's the one you'll look back on and say that one got away because there's some weird stuff that happened in that one. I think Vandy's beating Texas this weekend, by the way. Like, I don't get this whole love for Texas. They've done nothing that's impressed me so far this season.
Yeah, I'm not believing it as well. I do think Vandy's going to win, which means congratulations to all of you that are betting on Texas this weekend. Alex, what do you have for us today?
Guys, believe it or not, Yadier Molina will be on the coaching staff of Albert Pujols this year in Major League Baseball. He's down to the finalists for the Padres I saw yesterday.
I think Albert's going to get that San Diego job.
I think so, too.
And Yadi will be his bench coach. And Cardinals fans will be very angry.
That'll be fun.
I don't think Yadi's ready to do an everyday coaching role. That's my guess.
He put it on Instagram.
I don't know.
I'm not going to believe it. I don't think Albert will work with Yadi. I wonder if the Padres would want him to have a veteran that's been around baseball a while. And what I mean by that is in the coaching ranks for a while, not just going with a first-time head coach, because we've seen how those can get off the rails. But I will not believe this. I do not think you'll see Yadier Molina.
Yeah, I'm not believing this either. I'm not believing this either.
We're all on the same page. Devon?
Guys, believe it or not, we will see the Cardinals this offseason pull off one of the trades that really set up the Toronto Blue Jays, which was the trade of their catcher when they sent Gabriel Moreno to Arizona, which is the deal I believe it was that they acquired Dalton Varsho in.
Correct. I'll believe it. They're going to do something like that. I don't know what it's going to be. Could be Brendan Donovan. Could be Lars Nootbaar still, maybe. I doubt it, but maybe. Could be Alec Burleson. Maybe somebody still believes in the power of Nolan Goring. I don't know. But I think they're going to have one of those big moves this offseason that brings back something of significance.
Yeah, I'm believing this as well. I think you're going to see multiple moves. You're going to see multiple moves. Now, I don't know if you're going to get multiple moves at that degree, but you're going to see multiple moves of guys being moved out that you look at and you be like, whoa, you should get a good return for this one. So believe it.
Yeah, I would believe it as well. I think they probably try. I think some of the moves that they make will be more of like, hey, let's add in some prospect and really reinforce the minor leagues. I wonder if they float around a catcher that helps them get something that helps at the major league level. That's the one that I'm wondering, but I don't know who that catcher would be that they trade.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for Believe It or Not. You guys give us a scenario. We will tell you if we are believing it or not here on BK and Ferrario. From the 636, guys, believe it or not, Dvorsky will have a breakaway tonight, only to put the puck in the goalie's chest protector.
No, not believe it. I don't think he's going to have a breakaway. But I do think he's going, like if Dvorsky gets in on a breakaway, he's not shooting for the chest. He's got an elite shot, kind of like Jimmy Snuggerud will. So not believe it, but I don't think he's going to get a breakaway. I think the Blues are going to be very tight in their own end tonight, not looking for those outlet passes, so it's going to be more of the dump and chase style tonight.
To be fair, Sidney Crosby also put the puck in the chest of the Blues goalie and then took it back and put
Go
it
back and watch that replay. He did it on purpose.
I know.
He's like, watch, he's going to drop this and I'm going to pick it up on the rebound.
That guy's unreal.
I love Sidney Crosby.
I will not believe this as well. I'll say Dvorsky gets a point, though. Tonight.
I'll say he scores tonight.
Oh. Okay. I was
That's
going to
one
say
of
a power play point.
That's one of my, if I was making a specific play on this one, go the higher on Dvorsky points over on our Underdog app.
All right, I like that. Believe it or not, guys, if the Blues score first tonight, they still lose.
Oh, not believe it. I think this will be the game that the things right themselves. They get in the win column. Lankinen starting in goal. It's the guy that the Blues beat the last time they played against Vancouver. They are without Quinn Hughes, Connor Garland, Lekkerimäki, and Hedl. So they're without their top defenseman, one of their top centermen, and their depth of scoring. So I think this is the one that the Blues get it right. I'll say a 4-1 final score.
I'll say not believe this. I do think they will win tonight, but I will caution not to get too excited because of all the pieces that Alex just said.
Yeah, this isn't a game where I'm going to come on the air tomorrow and be like, oh, the Blues are fine.
Well, give yourself time.
No.
Wait until you see it.
Well, if I see him dominate and Dvorsky looks awesome, then I might.
Boy, those intrusive thoughts, they weren't true. This team's awesome.
That will go away, but I'm not going to act as if one game fixes all. They've got to remember last year, it took them to like January to get to a 3-game win streak.
What if they lose? We're just going to ask.
No, if they lose, then
it's like full panic.
If they lose, Alex might be taking a personal day tomorrow, and you two are going to be at Centene.
It's a Friday, so I mean we've got that going for us.
Well, that's great. You guys will handle it, and I'm just going to get a kickstart on Halloween with my daughters because I'll be in a really bad place tonight.
We got our guy Macadoodle Mike.
Yep.
We'll do our NFL weekend look ahead. We'll have One's Gotta Go.
You guys will handle it.
Football pick'em. We'll have Ask Us Anything.
I'm just saying.
Junk drawer.
Wait, are we building the rundown
Rewind.
now? Ryder, Tommy.
Only a few segments to talk about the Blues, thankfully.
Ryder, Tommy, BK, Tanner. Personal day if the Blues lose tonight, especially if they cough up a lead.
Mental health day.
Yeah, I might need a mental health.
Pays for those nowadays.
I might need a mental health on Friday and Monday if that's the case.
All right, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line.
Someone said they still have Kiefer Sherwood. You might have been being sarcastic there, sir or madam.
From Hardy Hancock, believe it or not, Mizzou can win out with their true freshman quarterback.
Not. Come on, man.
No, man.
It's going to be learning. It's going to be a learning curve for Zollers.
I'll say this. The offense might be a little bit more exciting in terms of him throwing the ball in some big plays.
Have you guys checked out the look-ahead line for Mizzou versus Texas A&M? I'm assuming you have, right?
Can I guess?
That's what I wanted you to do. It's Mizzou at home against Texas A&M. Matt Zoller is expected to be the starting quarterback for Mizzou.
I'm going A&M. I can see where this
Texas
is higher.
A&M, by the way, before you say it, also on bye this week.
Man.
Both teams.
Okay, that does change my answer a little bit because I was thinking 6.5.
It's at Mizzou, right?
Yeah, I'm going Texas A&M minus 9.5.
I'm saying 8.5.
6.5. T-Bone, you were on the right path. Yeah.
Man, the bye really threw me off. Dang it.
6.5. I assumed it would be a little higher than that. Yeah. I guess Mizzou being at home plays into that. They get like 3-4 points for that, depending on if you had flipped it over to Texas A&M. So if it was in College Station, you're probably looking at like a 10.5-ish point line. I guess that makes sense, but that's a line that I'm going to have a hard time staying away from. Just in favor of Texas A&M.
Stay away from it.
Yeah, join the dark side.
Yeah, I do not think that Mizzou will be winning out with their true freshman quarterback. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line from the 618. Guys, does BK sing Believe It or Not? If not, then why? If so, he's good because he harmonizes perfectly. I need to know which it is.
What, do they think you're lip syncing over here?
I don't know.
It's the whole
you see
that throws everybody
must
off.
Be thinking that we're the same person.
I don't know why, man. I don't know why. We don't even look the same.
314-399-9646 is the
He did see what I did.
Text. I did. I just didn't want to.
I thought you were going to.
No, come on. No, my wife got mad at me because I was making fun of his nose before. So she told me I need to stop.
Is that my wife?
That was true.
So then I'll pick on his Adam's apple.
Believe it or not, Penn State will ultimately live to regret firing James Franklin.
I believe it. If you got upset because you couldn't win the big game, you're going to get real upset if you can't win double digits.
I'm going to believe it because I think one of these three, the big jobs that open, is going to regret what they did.
So
not Florida.
I think immediately upon their hire, they will feel as though they're going to regret it. Because I don't think fans will be happy with the hire. I think they'll feel underwhelmed. The only way that they could have really been excited about it is Curt Cignetti, for being real. I guess technically Lane Kiffin would get you excited if you're a Penn State fan as well, but I don't see any scenario in which he leaves for that job. Even Matt Rule, I don't know if he would have done it, but at least you've got the Penn State ties there, so I understand the allegiance.
And to credit to him, he's done a good job in the past of building up a program.
No doubt. Are they going to get overly excited about, I don't know,
South Florida's coach?
Brom from Louisville?
Summerall?
Or Summerall? Like, these guys are going to be what you ended up firing James Franklin for?
I would have just kept James Franklin and stuck with it.
That being said, it could work out. I mean, it's hard to know which hires work and which hires don't. So the reason that I bring this up is because I think upon the announcement, when they have the press conference, I think fans are going to be pretty damn underwhelmed. And they'll be like, man, we should have just kept James Franklin if this is the guy that we were going to hire. But 5 years from now, it's very much possible they decide, you know what, it was the right decision. It had grown stale. This guy got us to a higher ceiling than what James Franklin would have been capable of. So kind of two different answers depending on the timeline that you're talking about. 5 years from now, I think they'll be fine with it. When they make the hire, disappointing. No doubt about it. Coming up next, we are going to play a game of Beat the Blues. You guys are going up against Logan Mayu today. We do have our contestants. Winner's getting a signed puck and tickets to see the St. Louis Blues at Enterprise Center. We'll play Beat the Blues next year on 101 ESPN. BK, it is football. Alex, it is football season here in St. Louis, and that means it is time to get the Underdog app. I'm so excited. I'm telling myself about it here on 101 ESPN. Alex, when I use the Underdog app going into a game like this, I want to check first to see, do they have any odds boost? It is still, for another couple of days, boost over. And I've got a 30% profit boost for tonight, Thursday Night Football. I've got Jalen Waddle going higher on his receiving yards. Zay Flowers going higher on his receiving yards as well. And yeah, I've got Derrick Henry scoring a touchdown in this one. I've got those three picks, more than 5-1 odds on the Underdog app, Alex.
Alex, I got a hockey one. 3 picks on my entry. Dvorsky higher on points. Bennington higher on saves. Sherwood lower on shots on goal. Whatever it is, download the Underdog app today. Sign up with promo code BKO to score $100 in bonus funds or bonus entries when you play your first $5. Again, promo code BKO. Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a SportsCenter update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Blues back in action tonight as they host the Vancouver Canucks. We'll have pregame coverage starting at 6 o'clock with Alex Ferrario and puck drop at 7 o'clock with Chris Garber and Joey Vitale. The SportsCenter update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone on MBK, it's time for Beat the Blues. You're going up against Logan Mailloux today. We've got Ryan, Corey, and Sean. Very simple game. We're going to give you a category. You name as many different things within that category as you can within 15 seconds. And the winner today, highest margin of victory, will go home with tickets to see the Blues versus the Flames. That's coming up on November 11th. And a signed puck by Logan Mailloux. We play this each and every Thursday throughout the Blues season, Alex. And today we have 3 contestants going up against Logan Mailloux. We begin with Ryan, who's joining us here on BK and Ferrario. Ryan, we appreciate you being a part of the show, man. Do you understand the rules of the game?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Absolutely. Happy to have you. Ryan, your category today, things that you would eat at breakfast, things that you would have as part of breakfast. You have 15 seconds. On your mark, get set, go.
Eggs, bacon, toast, breakfast sandwich, bagel, cream cheese, syrup, waffles, pancakes, orange juice, apple juice, cranberry juice.
That was a good round.
That was a great round. Couple of questions. You don't eat orange juice and cranberry juice and apple
Things
juice.
that you had at breakfast.
Okay, cool.
Consume them.
And hey, whoa, easy, Ryan. I'm just making sure we're all on the same page here.
That's a defense like I would have if you questioned something else.
You also made a side eye on syrup, and I have a buddy who literally takes shots of maple syrup when he eats breakfast.
Oh,
so
really?
Spot on, Ryan.
We did something last night. You're gonna hate this. I guarantee it.
Something you did, so yes.
We made chili last night. It's a new recipe we tried
If
out.
you're about to say something I'm going to really get upset about.
It had syrup in it.
Ugh.
It was shockingly good.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, it had a little bit of a spice with the sweet.
No.
It was different. I enjoyed it.
No.
All right, Ryan got 12. Let's hear if Logan Mailloux knows his breakfast.
Eggs, toast, grits, potatoes, bacon, female bacon, French toast.
Female bacon. He's Canadian, so it's got to be a Canada thing.
Female bacon.
Is that like Canadian bacon?
Cornmeal bacon. Wet, cured, unsmoked bacon made from trimmed, lean, boneless pork loin.
Ooh, kind of sounds
typically rolled into cornmeal.
Ooh, that's the part
It is mainly found in Ontario. Toronto is where it was originally established.
I'm out on the cornmeal stuff, but everything else sounded good. But regardless, it was only 7.
I got 7 for him.
So a +5 for Ryan. Rye coming out hot.
Rye.
That's a good nickname.
Ryan, stay on the line. You're a leader in the clubhouse at a +5. We've got Corey coming back on with us here today. Corey, how you doing, man?
Hey, guys.
Hey, Corey.
I thought you were going to have something else, Corey.
Yeah, I wanted to say, I want to have a shout out to Marcy.
Whoa.
Say hi to my buddy Marshy.
No, you can't shout out another show on our show.
That's okay. We like Marshy around here.
I love Marshy.
No, we like Marshy too. All right, Corey, do you understand the rules of the game, man?
I do, yeah.
All right, Corey, your category today. Superheroes. Name as many superheroes as you can in 15 seconds. On your mark, get set, go.
Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Catwoman, the Green Lantern, Fantastic Four, The Thing.
No, he got to the thing. It took him a little bit. I was not gonna allow Fantastic Four, but then he got the thing, so he nailed it.
6 or 7?
I had 6.
All right, 6.
Yeah.
Good 6
stuff.
it is,
Good
Corey.
stuff, Corey.
All right, Corey, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you got 6.
You
Ryan
need-
at a +5. It's going to be tough for you.
He was going to have to get 1.
We appreciate you being a part of the show. I'll just go ahead and say goodbye. Let's be real. Let's hear if Logan Mailloux knows his superheroes. All he needs to do is get 2.
Superman, Batman.
Okay.
The Flash, Green Lantern, Green Arrow.
It's a deeper cut.
Yeah.
It's a +1. He did beat him.
I don't think Green Lantern's a real superhero. Green Arrow is much better, but we'll go on with it.
Everybody's going with Green Lantern. It was a
terrible movie. Even Ryan Reynolds said it was a terrible movie.
It wasn't great.
No. Some movies aren't great and they're fine. This one was. He literally had himself at the end of Deadpool 2 shooting himself in his office, writing the script of Green Lantern. It was not good.
Yeah, it wasn't good. All right, let's go to Sean.
Sean!
Appreciate you being a part of the show, man. We're wishing you the best. You got to beat a +5. How you doing?
All right. How about you?
Doing great.
First question, Sean. Is it SEAN or SHAWN?
Or SHAUN?
Or some other weird spelling?
It is the SHAUN.
There it is!
Alex didn't even acknowledge that was a possibility.
Yeah.
What?
You didn't even acknowledge SHAUN.
No, he said W, didn't he?
No, he just said AU.
I wasn't listening.
Why can't you listen?
I wasn't listening. Sorry, Sean.
All right, Sean, do you understand the rules of the game, man?
I do.
All right, Sean, your category today, things that move slow. Things that move slowly. Name as many different things in that category as you can in 15 seconds. On your mark, get set, go.
Turtle, slug, snail, snake, wheelchair, motorized wheelchair. Yeah.
The motorized
You got off
wheelchair.
to such a good start. I was like, all right, because the first thing that comes to mind is a turtle, right?
That one-
Everybody's got that one.
That
And
one
then
was
you go,
tough, though.
oh, bleep, do I know anything else that moves slow?
That one was tough because once he got to snake, I would have just been out.
Hey, Sean, you got 6.
Once again, Sean.
Appreciate you being a part of the
Thanks
show,
for calling
brother.
in. But we don't know. Maybe you only got one.
Let's hear what Logan Mayu had to say for things that move slowly.
Time, a turtle, a sloth, semi-truck.
Can we just appreciate how the deep cut that he had as his first answer? Time?
It's clever.
God bless you, Logan Mayu. That was a good
move.
one.
All right, Sean, you got a +2 because he ended up with 4 in that category, which means Ryan, congratulations, man. Ryan is our winner today. He did indeed beat the Blues. Tickets to see the Blues versus the Flames on November 11th. The signed puck by Logan Mayu all going Ryan's way. You'll have your chance to win tickets to see the Blues and win a signed puck next Thursday when we play Beat the Blues.
A couple of on the YouTube chat that made me chuckle. One is Alex's brain. Not funny. 2 was Alex's car when it's parked. Or not parked.
Yeah.
That was a thing. To this day, I have PTSD of that, and I have to go back and check my car before I walk away from it, that it is officially parked.
Somebody could also say my relationships. I was with my wife for a decade before we decided to get married as well.
Or your ability to break up.
Just any of the above.
Yeah, okay, cool.
I got a question for you.
T-Bone's dating life?
Oh, well, that's not existent.
It's not
I don't
moving.
know.
It's broken.
If something doesn't exist, does it move slow, fast? I don't know.
It doesn't
Do you
exist.
guys think Ryan's going to trade that Mayu puck for a Bolduc puck?
I hate you. I
Coming
knew
up
you were going to
next-
make a comment, but I hate you for that one.
The Rewind here on 101 ESPN.
Alex Ferrario with you to tell you about my friends over at Ted Drew's Famous Frozen Custard. Sun's out. It's a nice fall day today. No more of that rain that's been around these last couple of days. So make an appointment to get on out to Ted Drew's off of Chippewa. It's open daily and has been a St. Louis tradition since 1929. Fourth-generation, family-run business that has been built on quality service and a love for St. Louis. And you see it when you get over there. You see it in the parking lot. People waiting in line. Everybody has to try Ted Drew's Famous Frozen Custard. They've got concretes, malt, shakes, sundaes, floats, ice cream, sodas. Pro tip, buy it in a quart, take it home, put it in the freezer, have it for whenever you want. Ted Drew's Famous Frozen Custard. Perfect any time. We're getting into the holidays, and boy, do I love going over there when those Christmas trees are out. That'll be just around the corner. So check it out, Ted Drew's Famous Frozen Custard off of Chippewa. While you're there, check out the gift shop across the parking lot. They've also got a history museum where you could buy Ted Drew's apparel. You could see different things from the history of Ted Drew's going all the way back to 1929. 96 years, 4 generations of families serving St. Louisans that famous frozen custard, unmatched quality, unforgettable taste.
The Louisiana governor's going on a media tour.
Oh, my
He's loving
God.
every bit of this.
Oh.
He's now going on with the Louisiana version of 101 ESPN. He's going on 104.5 ESPN down in Louisiana later today. So, yeah, fun times down there. I'm reading a long piece right now about the feud that apparently exists between their athletic director and the governor in Louisiana. I don't know if this LSU head coaching job is quite as appealing as I maybe first anticipated, Alex.
Good. I just
a lot of stuff going on behind the
one
scenes.
thing I can say is, man, every coach right now is going to want to go coach over at LSU for how much this guy's getting involved.
You don't know who your president is. You don't know who your athletic director is going to be, I don't know, a month from now. And you know that the governor is going to try to...
You're literally going to have to answer to the governor when things go poorly, or he's going to go on the media tour and start calling you out.
Other than that, though, great job.
Yeah,
you can win there.
You know what? If you pay me $20 million a year, I'm in.
Hey, it's the last week to enter the Tee It Up with TMA giveaway, Alex, presented by Michelob Ultra. You ready to hit the fairway with the crew from TMA?
Hell bleeping yeah.
Well, good, because 2 lucky winners are going to score a free round of golf with Tim and Jackson of TMA at Fox Run Golf Club. It's your chance to hang out and enjoy a laid-back round, which means Alex isn't going to be there.
Yeah, I
with
can't
Tim
blame
and
him.
Jackson. Use the promo code SWING. That's SWING. You'll get entered to win now at either 101ESPN.com or on the 101 mobile app. Must be 21 or older. The Tee It Up with TMA giveaway is courtesy of Mich Ultra Superior Light Beer. It's 1:56. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Alex, we had great conversations today with Joey Vitale, with Jordan Schmaltz, and with Chris Pronger. People can find all of those on the podcast page after the show today. Blues back in action this evening.
At some point. So I think this is it. It's a good team to go up against that's also going through their own issues. So hopefully the Blues can come out ready to go in this one. But, yeah, I think they win.
I've got the Blues winning as well. If they don't, though, oh boy, our open tomorrow is going to be wild. Thursday Night Football, Ravens at the Dolphins. Ravens are a 7.5-point favorite on the road at Miami. I think they win and cover in this
I do, too. Dolphins, to me, are just dead, which is actually more insane that they won last week. Tells you about the opponent. But, yeah, I think the Ravens win this one.
I'm with you guys. I don't see Miami winning this.
All right, that's what we've got for you guys tonight. Again, pregame coverage for Blues versus the Canucks coming up right here on 101 ESPN at 6 o'clock. For Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. By the way, a new edition of the Redbird Report coming out here in just a few hours.
Yeah!
Check that out, youtube.com/101 ESPN STL. Coming up next, it's the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. Okay, Alex, we do have our line combinations today.
Ooh, T-Bone, hit the open.
Guess the line! I don't know where the open's at.